Sexy. Very sexy.
What's going on, everyone?
We can begin now. Okay. So, in our last session, the party, having received some intel from a curious man they encountered wandering the forest, a man who was clearly a little bit deranged, a man named Brendley, who had suffered a great loss and seemed deeply traumatized and lost. You rendered him some aid, granted him some supplies, and instructed him how to make his way back to Shady Creek Run, and in return, he told you of the location of a treasure spot, the location where his caravan was ambushed and destroyed. You made your way there, and discovered this great ravine, this chasm in the earth, scorched and blackened around the edges, with bits of the caravan strewn around, as if they had been struck by a hammer and scattered. At the bottom of the ravine was the rest of the caravan, turned into bits of charred fat and gore and broken bits of flesh and bone scattered across the floor. You devised a way down into this ravine, a long rope, or in the case of two of you, a magical hamster ball, which allowed you to superhero landing in the middle of the ravine like badasses. You did battle with some ghosts and other such things before making your way into a cave at the bottom of this ravine. Pushing deeper, you found these veins of fire that exploded into incandescent flames when you touched them. Suffering a little bit of damage, a few scorches, but nothing serious. Before this point, a couple of you, on the way to this treasure point, experienced some premonitions, the nature of which are known to only yourselves, Kieran and Katu. Your dreams perhaps weighing on you in your travels, but in any case, you made your way to the place of the vaunted treasure, down through this cave, down and down through the spiraling tunnels, until eventually you came to this chamber of worked stone. This long, tall, high place, or the roof at least 30 or 40 feet above you, massive golden pillars shooting up to support a domed ceiling, and at the very end of this long corridor, this chamber, a vast mountain of gold, gems, copper, silver, and platinum, guarded by a fire giant, a massive hulking man with flaming red hair and a giant greatsword, intricately worked armor. You did battle with him, slew him, but the sound of the battle drew much attention. And before you knew it, an adult red dragon had burst through the doors of the chamber, and you attempted to flee. And you did not succeed. The dragon loosed its mighty breath and fried Tarn to a crisp, nearly liquidating him inside his armor. Ish was caught in that flame as well. The rest of you tried to run, firing off errant shots, but it was clear that the dragon had the better of you, and it offered you a bargain. Demanding magical items, artifacts of great power in exchange for your lives. Tarn offered up one such, pulling out the emissary's heart, this crystal heart that had protected him with a very powerful defensive barrier up until now. The dragon accepted. Katu offered up a crystal phylactery containing the harvested minds of mages many from as far back as Malaismere itself, thousands of years old. This massive crystal orb thrumming with arcane power. Ish, Morish, and Kieran did not offer anything of significant value. Ish was severely wounded in his attempt to flee and dropped to the ground, rendered unconscious and bleeding, and the dragon, in a fit of pique, offered up treasures it did not want, rebuked by Kieran, who slighted him with an empty glass bottle. The dragon picked Ish up and flung it at the group of you, and Ishyor's head struck the ground and cracked open like a split egg, and he lies dead on the ground before you. The dragon looms over you, massive and imposing. Morish mid-run, Katu standing there, Kieran, I assume, also running, and Tarn some distance behind, well abandoned in the depth of this chamber. What do you all want to do?
I'm gonna go grab Ishur's corpse. Assuming the dragon doesn't, react badly to this.
The dragon, his eyes have no regard whatsoever for the little body of the gnome. His eyes are locked onto Kieran, specifically. Morris is some distance down the chamber, still running.
I'm gonna start running.
Alright. And you run?
I'm holding put. I'm just gonna see what the dragon does because I've already offered up my thing. It gave me a smile. I'm gonna wait and see what happens.
Morris?
I'm gonna cast command.
Go, let's go.
Running up
Alright,
super
cool.
strong.
What is your command, and what is the saving throw?
I'm gonna tell him to halt, and it's a wisdom saving throw.
Alright, you know what to do, Kieran. As Morris looks to you and speaks
Fuck you.
a single
fair
word.
play.
Halt! And the magic, for a brief moment, seems to grasp around your mind, but with barely a single shrug worth of effort, you flex and breaks out of it and keep running. And you look back and you see Morris.
Oh no, I'm
glow
ahead.
off of his,
I'm ahead of him at this point. I'm
ahead of him. Yeah.
I'm
So
80 feet
look
down
forward.
the cabin. Yeah.
Yeah. See Morris turn briefly, spinning on his heels to speak this command, eyes glowing before he turns and keeps running.
Question:
Noted.
How
Yep.
dark is this tunnel?
There is no light at all except for the light of the red crystal veins that
This-
spiral.
Would Kieran have seen me cast this spell, being that
Yes,
I'm
I have. I
60
have the
feet?
goggles of seeing in dark,
Okay,
or whatever it's
okay.
called.
And
Go,
they
go.
have a range of 60 feet. You wouldn't have seen it.
I'm 60 feet away.
I thought you just said you were 8.
I'm 80 feet. I'm 80 feet from the dragon.
Yeah.
I'm 80
Oh,
feet
you're
from
80
the
feet
dragon.
dragon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You could have lied.
Actually, let me
Jesus.
expand the
I
let me
see what
expand
this,
the
I
chamber
see
a little
what's
bit.
happening here. You guys are ganging up against me because you're scared.
Alright. Morris, so you said you're 80 feet from the dragon?
I believe so. Yep.
This is a non-short king chat.
How dare you?
Okay. We'll leave you like right there, abouts. Okay. That's your action. Immediately as this unfolds, Katu going to Ish, Tarn staying put, Kieran beginning to run, Morris turning and casting the spell. The dragon beats its wings and flies, landing down in front of you, Katu, at the mouth of this cavern. Before you, him hulking, looming over you, massive. Even you and your powerful form are dwarfed by this thing. And the dragon cranes its head over you, over the body of Ish, the blood spreading underneath his head, and speaks a word. Can any of you understand Draconic?
No.
A word that none of you can understand, as Morish, ahead of the tunnel, where your exit should be, you see suddenly, popping into life, a roaring flame, a wall of flame bursting up from one of these crystal veins, blocking your passage and shedding a bright, burning light.
Okay. Can I stick my spear into it and see through briefly?
Yeah, if you run up to the wall and you thrust your spear through.
Would I be able to see
thrusting your,
briefly onto the other side?
sort of like parting the flames?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, okay. Slicing your spear through, you cut through the flames, the Spear of Denial, perhaps a minor abjurative effect, briefly dispelling the magic, as a brief channel is opened.
I'm gonna cast
and you see
Misty
ahead.
Step.
Ah, clever, clever. In that moment that you see, I will let you know, you do see more of these walls of flames, basically shooting from all of these spiraling veins of crystal, like all of them have ignited all at once.
Okay.
But there is another pocket you can teleport into beyond this wall of fire.
Sure, I do it.
Alright, you do so. Let me draw these out, just for... So there'd be sort of like one here, and let me expand the map. So I'd say with that shenanigan, you've gotten to where you are now, intersected between two walls, more up ahead, and the tunnel is about, it varies between like 3 wide and 2 wide. Let me draw out more.
Okay, so I would have jumped like straight up to the next wall, essentially, like just before it.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
here, I would say. Oh, there.
Fair enough. Alright, and the tunnel just stretches on just like that. Okay, so there you are, Morris. Now the wall's behind you, blocking sight behind you and ahead of you. The heat is immense. Sweat breaks out on your forehead, coating you in a fine sheen. You are sweating, stuck to your armor. Anything else anyone else would like to do? Kieran, you see this wall of fire before you, the dragon having spoken its word, its eyes burning two holes into the back of your head, as you can sense its full attention dropping onto you.
Mm.
Can I cast Dispel
Okay.
Magic with my staff?
On the flames.
Yeah.
You sure can, buddy. And I will say that momentarily dispels it. The wall of fire flickering out and the wall dropping, and you seeing just dull crystal beneath, now colorless. But before we get back to you, Kieran, what is your immediate reaction?
To the wall of fire. This is stretching literally from one end to the other.
Pretty much.
Do I not see any tunnels or dents in the wall I can tuck into and hide?
Make a perception check. The light that comes off of these flames is pretty immense. Looking over these stones, looking for pockets, striations, anything that you can get through. You see what looks like some kind of fault? Some kind of strange pattern in the stone there. It's, in this quick moment of glance, you're not able to ascertain much more than that, but you notice, you look at the stone and it looks just ever so slightly off.
When you say off, do you mean big enough for me to jump into with full force?
It just looks like the pattern of the stone is a little strange and incoherent and incongruent. There's no like gap or anything. There's no visible hole or that you can jump into. You just see that the stone looks a little strange.
Okay. Could I push or pull on the distorted pattern?
Yeah, sure. Running up to the stones, laying hands on it, pushing on it. Nothing seems to happen. You can make an investigation check if you want. Seven. Running
Hold
up
on.
to the stone.
Hold
This,
on.
you gonna tap the orb?
Fuck.
Mm.
Interesting decision. You certainly can, buddy.
I did. I rolled a 3 with it.
Okay. This is not the first time. This is not the first time you're tapping it today. I know you've done it before. Let me bring up the
Sure.
table. I know
Okay.
3 is bad. Any odd number is bad on that thing, but we'll see just how bad it ends up being.
You need me to roll a d20, yeah?
3. Your features take on a deathly pallor as you are overcome with a deep fatigue. Yeah, I
do
do need to make
I-
a Constitution
I
saving throw.
can't save. Okay.
Yes, against exhaustion. DC 12. You do suffer a point of exhaustion.
Mhm.
As you pull out this orb, Kieran, attempting to figure out in your moment of panic, trying to find an escape, an exit, trying to ascertain any way, shape, or form that you can get out of this, the orb tries to whisper. You try to listen to the orb, but you don't seem to hear anything. And as you're holding this, staring into the orb, it seems to draw something out of you. Your body withering. Roll 2d4 for me. 3. Both your strength and dexterity score are temporarily reduced by 3.
Okay.
At least it wasn't 8, and at least it didn't bring you to 0.
Can I cast?
Alright, but
Go on, sorry.
just before we do that, as you're pulling out this orb, Kieran, and attempting to ponder it and find a way through this stone, just trying to make sense of that strange break in the pattern, you sense the dragon's attention shift from you to the orb. As it steps over Ish and Katu, almost like standing over them, Katu pressed up against the searing underbelly of this thing, perhaps stepping aside, dragging Ish out of the way. As the dragon pushes its way into the chamber, and it looms its head down on you, Kieran, as you are attempting to ponder this orb, and you look up and you meet its burning red eyes. And it speaks. Surrender it.
Never! And I'm going to jump through the firewall.
Just a moment. In that moment, as the dragon speaks this word, you hear a voice in your head. The voice of the orb. Your steadfast companion, your friend for these last few weeks. And just as you're about to turn and leap through the flames, you feel something tense your muscles, stopping you for just a moment. And you hear the voice say, Kieran, friend and ally, some partings are destined. Surrender me. You have done well.
Okay, I drop it.
You go to drop it. Your hand freezes, unable to do the act of dropping this thing at the floor. You simply turn back toward the dragon holding the orb, and your hand locks up there, and the dragon squeezes its way into the tunnels, the stone pressing against it, furling its wings upon itself, wrapping itself like a cloak, as it steps toward you, stomping the earth, and reaches out a taloned hand, a massive set of claws closing around your wrist, and taking the orb almost delicately from you, not inflicting any undue harm as you stand there with your back against the flames, for it draws the hand back and takes the orb and holds it, this tiny, tiny purple-black orb, dark against the red of its scales and skin. Your friend. Bring him to me. As this wall of fire winks out, and you see Morris standing there.
I was going
at the end of the chamber.
say, while all this was going on, would I have been able to cast Resilience Sphere on myself and start pushing through the flames?
How many charges do you have left on that thing?
7.
7?
Mhm. I haven't used any.
Oh, wow.
I've only
That's
used the spell
correct.
magic once, so I still got the sphere. So while all this was going on,
Alright.
Morris would have cast the sphere on himself and kept going.
Okay. You absolutely can. Holding the staff out above you, the light bursting, this cold white light, as a sphere not dissimilar to the hamster ball cast by Ish upon Tarn, envelops you, making you immune as you walk through the wall of fire and the flames part around you, burning up against the barrier. But you are unharmed as you move at your normal speed.
I would have gotten through.
As you pass behind it, as you pass behind each of these barriers, they drop behind you, giving way.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to keep going. As soon as I get past. How many... do they keep going through the tunnel?
Pretty much. We'll stop you there for just now. Kieran, Katsu, and Tarn, how do you react? All of you can hear this proclamation. The dragon's voice is not quiet.
Has he gone through, or can we still see him? I guess I can't. He's more than 60 down, isn't he?
Well, actually, you can't see
Yeah.
him. He's cast into the light of the firewall, so you just see a black silhouette in the distance, his shape lit by the flames.
Do I know that he's trying to cast a spell on me?
Well, yes, you certainly do.
Okay, cool. Can I shoot his foot and pin him down?
I'm in a sphere, so you can try.
This is he did cast the resilience sphere upon himself, which makes it pretty hard for that to affect him. Let's see. In the order of operations, Morris would have cast that thing pretty quickly. Yeah, I would say by the time you surrender the sphere and look back, Morris already has the sphere on him. So as you go to knock the arrow, you know, perhaps having some experience with arcane matters, or not, that it's probably going to be ineffective.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going.
Morris keeps running. Does anyone follow?
I suppose I can't really get past the dragon anyway. So.
No, at this point I need the dragon to just be like, "Yep, cool. Your gift was sick. Bye."
Mm-hmm.
Can we take a look through the doors without getting caught?
Actually,
Dave,
at
look at
this
Discord.
point,
Like the dragon's pretty distracted, right?
at this point, I would say Tarn, being closest to the doors, you look back and you see the door through which the dragon entered is still wide open, and you see creatures entering through as well. one more fire giant, massive and limber. Two odd creatures that look like snakes, but made of pure magma, slithering along the ground, leaving burning, scorching trails behind them. As well as, from the other door on the other side, an entourage of oddly normal-looking people. You see a few humans, an elf, all of them dressed in relatively decent clothing, finery, some of them simple like workman's garbs. Among them, a gnome of interesting features. Ish, if you would like to describe your character.
Uh, I have a very fine handlebar mustache with mutton chops. Beady eyes. What does my character look like? Very far apart. Very, very far apart. Definite receding hairline, but with one of those ye olde English wigs that lawyers or aristocrats would have worn, and some very well worn finery clothes that would at one point have been reasonably regal, but have seen a lot of use.
Ish, obviously. You step through the doors, surrounded by other such members of your of the entourage. Not your entourage, but an entourage. Other men and women in similar situations as you. Stepping through and seeing the situation, seeing one of the mighty fire giants that have lorded over you and yours for so long, slain. A man in a hulking suit of blackened armor, scorched, just standing still. Actually, you can't even tell that he's a man at all, just this massive, almost 9-foot tall suit of armor stuck in place. The dragon at the far end of the tunnel, some distance away.
Can I do something, Verb?
What do you like to do, Tarn?
As soon as I see this entourage, I want to run, action surge. I want to dash, action surge, dash.
In what direction?
Out of the tunnel. So I'm gonna
Toward?
run under the. I'm just gonna rely that the dragon has received this gift from me. It's gonna look at me and be like, "Yeah, he's paid the troll toll."
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and move yourself. What is that? 30 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet?
So, again, is it just a single move if I action surge the move, or can I dash again?
I'd say you can get 90 feet. Movement, action, and action surge to dash again.
So that'll put me right behind the dragon.
Just on this topic of what's going on, I have given the dragon. Well, Kato has given the dragon 2 offerings. One was initially for Kieran, but Kieran has now given an offering of his own. So technically, we're 1 offering in the clear, right?
Well, you offered up the circlet of ingenuity. And the dragon seemed to regard it for just a second. It took it from your hands, and then cast it aside. Similarly, leaving the Pearl of Power and the Jolting Rod behind, which Ish and Morris offered up earlier. Let me just draw these in place. So the Jolting Rod's like right there, Pearl of Power is right there, and your circlet is right there. So it doesn't seem to be interested in these items.
I'm gonna keep running.
I'm gonna pick up Ish and go pick up the circlet.
Okay, perfect. You can absolutely feel free to do that. Morris, you keep on running, carving a path through these walls of fire. Even through the resilient sphere, the heat is immense, baking at you, making your skin burn and sear, the sweat almost seeming to boil off of you. But you keep pushing, both hands tight around the magical spear, the Staff of Denial, as you carve your path forward. How long does that spell last?
It's a minute? An hour?
A minute.
No, that's freedom of movement. Sorry, wrong one. Sorry. Resilient sphere is 1 minute. Yeah.
1 minute. Okay. It's a long tunnel. I would say you're able to get... We'll stop you right where you are on the map and say you've gotten about a minute's distance down to the tunnel running at full speed. More walls of fire ahead and behind you at this moment. Catching your breath, breathing in, each breath seeming to scorch and boil your lungs just a bit.
Is there like do they crisscross all the way? Is there no path through? Like without going across the fire?
Make
Because-
a perception check.
Okay. No.
In this moment, all you see are flames and stone. You see no other exits or entrance.
Okay. Is the sphere gone at this point?
Yes, it has just winked out the last of its magic, dissipating. One more wall right there.
And can I not see any other exits? I'm guessing that would lock in with the other perception check, wouldn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
So how far down am I to the tunnel at the moment?
Minute down. It's a pretty long tunnel. I would say you've managed to clear, what, like 600 feet?
Yeah.
Pretty decently down into it at this point.
And from memory, do I know how long it keeps going for?
Probably another 5 or 6 minutes of pure running.
Okay. And all the walls of fire behind me are off.
Each one you pass through winked out behind you.
I'm gonna slowly make my way back and see if I can find any exits that I might have missed while running.
Okay. Kieran, Katu, Tarn, anything you all do. The dragon does not seem to bar your entrance as you push your way through, Tarn. In fact, it steps back, beating its wings as soon as it has the space to do so. It flies back and seems to fall into like a reclining position of consideration, sitting on its haunches. One of its talons closed around the emissary's heart, the other around the black orb that Kieran offered it, as it seems to consider both objects. The crystal phylactery at its feet.
I'm gonna book it.
Down Moorish way?
Yeah. 60 feet.
Okay. Kieran and Katu?
Same.
Okay.
Just a bit dumbstruck, just gonna stand there for a minute.
Okay.
Confounded.
And Moorish, as you keep making your way down, unless you stop, you will eventually come into contact with the rest of your party. Tarn and Katu first. Tarn, are you in front of Katu or behind?
I was in front. I should be slightly in front, but she's got her extra 10 feet of movement from her thing, doesn't she?
Hmm.
So I would have moved 60 feet, and then she done that.
And then I did 40.
Okay, I'll put you slightly behind then.
Okay.
Tarn, the massive suit of armor blocking most of the passage ahead, difficult to see in the dim light. Katu, slightly ahead, still massive and imposing. I'll leave you right there as you stand. Tarn and Katu, you've both heard the dragon's proclamation.
I don't even know how to fucking respond.
Do I not see any other way out of here while I'm heading back?
Moving a little more slowly, make another perception check for me. You're gonna want to roll decently high on this. That's not very high, but I'm sorry. No, nothing. Turning over it in your head, looking and searching, grasping at anything at all, looking for any exit. You see nothing. Just cold, actually not cold, very hot and unforgiving stone. The voice of the dragon bellows out behind all of you. Bring him to me. We may talk.
Do I hear this?
Yes.
Oh. Fine, chin up. Gonna walk in. Gonna head back and
Alright.
go back towards the dragon.
Chin up. Fully confident. Well, maybe not fully confident.
No,
at least projecting it.
shitting an
Walking.
actual brick. I'm gonna come and stand here in front of the dragon,
I'm gonna give him the dirtiest look as he walks past me.
and I'm gonna return it.
Yeah. Your hand trembles just slightly at your side, Morris, as you step forward. It's all you can do not to turn and run in the other direction, but you know You know there's no other escape waiting for you there. You know there's no other option. So, with your head held high as best you can, locking eyes with the dragon, its burning red gaze, you approach and you stand before it. And the dragon, setting its items aside, sits down upon itself, reaches one talon hand up, and beckons the rest of you forward. Come, stand before me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna go well.
Yeah.
YOLO.
Give you a space back. Of course, that's about perfect.
Yeah, I stand before the dragon.
Are you doing the same, Kieran? Ish, obviously. What are you doing as you see this happen? This scene playing out?
I sent you a message.
Oh, so you did. Yep, okay, you certainly can. You certainly can. The dragon looms before you all, looking at the four of you. Morris standing, chin held high. Tarn, how do you present yourself?
I'm just gonna drop to one knee.
Kieran?
Yeah, standing there.
Katu?
Same, standing.
The dragon regards all of you. A moment of silence passes. A deep, pregnant silence. It seems to hold many promises of pain and death and all the worst fears your minds can imagine. Before the red form of the dragon begins to glow, its scales begin to bake and shimmer with this light, this magical light, as its form takes on an opalescent red glow and then compresses, shrinking down and down and down until the dragon is gone and a man stands before you. Elven figure, tall and imperious, powerful lean muscles, 6.5 feet tall perhaps, lithe and powerful, with flaming red hair cascading down and down, past his shoulders, down nearly to his hips, wearing this robe of crimson and gold. And the man stands before you and regards you all, and says, "Hello. My name is Ericus, and you have had the great misfortune of stumbling into my lair. I was going to kill you all, roast you to a blackened crisp, simply for the displeasure of interrupting me. Perhaps I still may. But these," and he looks back at the items you've set before him. The heart of the emissary, crystal and brilliant. The blackened orb, whisper in shadows. The crystal phylactery. Are precious. Perhaps more than you realize. And you, with one exception, seem capable, tough, resilient. I may have use for you.
What would that be?
A storm comes. Something powerful and cataclysmic.
Verb.
How? Yes. Let me check your message. you, you would laugh. Ish, obviously, approaching you from behind as the red dragon, now transmuted into form. Hang on, let me find just a generic token. Present this guy. Why not? This guy'll do. As the rest of you all stand before this tall, imperious, powerful elf with his long, flowing red hair. Some of you can't help but notice it from behind as this gnome with very strange features, this well-worn fine clothing, aristocratic, this powdered wig, balding hair receded, these two far apart eyes, and these eyebrows arched in an expression of perpetual surprise and distaste, approaches from behind and pulls out a hairbrush and begins to gently tidy the long flowing locks of this dragon man. The dragon man pays no regard. Ericus looks to you, Morish, the first to speak. Looks at the heart of the emissary and says, "Where was this acquired?"
Chaos Vicarum? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
From the
The
emissary.
fortress in the mountains.
Yes.
This is his heart, then.
Sure.
The center of that creature. That survivor of Malleus Mir.
He's from there?
Yes. Much like Lord Trebane. He was heralded from that ancient city. This, and he points to the blackened orb, whisper in shadows. Where did this come from?
The pillow.
Actually, it was on the person of a gnome we met.
And did he ever tell you from whence it came? Its origin?
He didn't say much of anything.
It is whispers in shadow. It is the heart of a great demon, its primal core, containing a fragment of its mind and influence, and much of its soul. And this, and he points to the orb, the crystal phylactery, is similar. An item invested with the essence of arcane powers. You found these, acquired these.
Yes.
I must assume that you can acquire more.
It's a reasonable assumption.
However, you are severely weakening us by taking away those.
Maybe
Our
not.
ability
Maybe
to acquire more will be impacted.
maybe not that orb.
You can keep the orb. Fuck the orb.
The elf
GM.
regards this purple orb, lifting it up in his hands, looking down upon it, and his crystal red irises glow brightly, and his lips twitch up in an unconscious, slight grin. Yes, I will be keeping it. I will.
No, I would like that back, actually.
Verb.
Okay, let me check. Alright. From behind, as all this goes on, Ish obviously taking his hairbrush and transitioning, putting it away because there are several different types of brushes that must be used, and a brush used for hair cannot possibly be used to just off clothing and shoulders and robes. You would simply track hair all over it and ruin his vestments. So you pull out your designated clothing brush and you start brushing off the shoulders of Ericus. You tug at his cloak and his robes, making the adjustment right, smoothing out the wrinkles. Ericus seems accepting of this, as if it is a matter of due course. Kieran, you say this. Ericus looks up slowly from the orb, locking eyes with you. What?
I would like my orb back.
As he says this, I'm just gonna step off to the side. And a little bit more.
There is a moment. Ericus opens his mouth, and then suddenly your consciousness seems to suspend. from your perspective, Kieran, nothing happens at all. You're just there, standing 1 minute, locking eyes with this man. And then next, he looms over you. You are lifted up into the air, levitated, held there by an invisible force, his hand held high, and you suspended in the air, your muscles and limbs locked up. His eyes burn, searing and scorching. As the rest of you all look, and from your own perspectives, Ericus had simply been standing there, doing nothing at all, simply looking at Kieran, and then suddenly you blink and Kieran is suspended in the air. Ericus stands below him, holding him, hand held high, and in his other hand, a building green spear of arcane light. As Ericus looks at you, Kieran, and repeats the question. What did you say to me?
I said, give me back my fucking orb, cunt!
And his left hand shoots forward, and this piercing green light shoots through your chest, Kieran. I need to make a dexterity save. Actually, you're paralyzed. You automatically fail those. Alright. You suffer 49 points of force damage as Ericus shoots his hand forward and this spear of green light strikes you in the chest, and the energy rips through you, boring a hole through your armor and rips out through your back. And immediately your conscience winks out, and you drop to the ground, crumpling in a heap at his feet, blood spreading out beneath you.
Verb.
Okay. From behind, the gnome, who you all have watched in silence for some time, procures from beneath the veil of his finery a silver platter and pulls out a goblet and begins to pour a fine wine, which even from this distance, Morris, you can tell is an extremely fine vintage.
Okay.
And pulls out an array of cheeses and spreads them out on the plate and bowing low, holding this platter up high, presents it to the dragon, and the dragon, Ericus, looks down at you, and a faint smile crosses his lips as he picks up the goblet and drinks over the body of Kieran, who is not dead, just bleeding out. Your selection is perfect as ever, Ish. You are an acceptable handmaid.
Why, thank you, sir.
My god, he's a cheese cleric.
Is Kieran's body on the ground, or?
Kieran's body is on the ground. Ericus, with an almost lazy gesture, holding the goblet in his left hand, flicks out his right and casts Spare the Dying as the wound stops. He is not dead. As he steps back, looking back and away, turning his back to the group of you all as if he could not be bothered. I have simply rebuked him for his impudence. I understand that some of you are not versed in manners, do not know the power of the entities you speak to, do not know your place in the grand scheme. Ignorance is not a crime punishable by death, however. This is a lesson, and he will learn it. As he picks up the orb and regards it. You may raise him if you wish.
I don't think I have anything.
Sorry.
So he's already been.
He's already been
Stabilized?
stabilized, yes.
Yeah, he's stabilized.
Okay.
Okay.
So do I unattune from it now, or?
Yes.
Can you unattune from the orb, or isn't?
Well,
he,
it's been
like-
forcibly taken off of him now. I suppose he has to.
Yeah,
At this moment, yes.
Shouldn't he be like going absolutely spaz?
Well, perhaps he was, but in this moment, as you are unconscious, Kieran, you feel nothing at all. When you raise, or when you rise again, perhaps we'll see how you feel.
I have a potion of greater healing I will use on him.
Okay.
Is that wise? I say as I see Katu pull out this potion. Don't you think we should wait until you know, he's not gonna question again.
Haru nods as she sees the sense in that.
Because he might just get back up and immediately ask for his orb back.
I'll restrain Kieran on the ground. Like, I'll just drop to one knee and I'll plant like the hands of the armor just across his halfling back. Because the hands, he's so small, my hands are massive. I should just be able to pin him to the floor.
A reasonable assumption. It would come down to contested athletics, but yes, that is definitely doable.
I'm down.
Okay. Does anyone heal Kieran?
I mean, I can't. I have nothing.
Can we tie him up and then heal him?
I'm restraining him.
Yeah, but he could get out.
I have advantage on athletics, and I have a +9.
Verb.
I see, I see. As you all are discussing this, Ish procures from seemingly nowhere at all, actually, from a small leather bag at his back, very small and subtle, just reaches his hand into it and pulls out an entire fucking stool, and lays it on the ground, and Ericus daintily sits atop it, and presents his shoulders, and Ish begins to, or the gnome begins to rub through the robes. This tall elven figure, whose face is impassive, but looks a little odd as he receives this massage.
You've got fucking issues, Coach.
Obviously.
I'm gonna. What's the dragon's name again? Sorry.
Ericus.
How's that?
I'll spell it out.
Yes, please. Thank you.
I know Kieran casted Levitate on me, don't I?
You do.
Right. This is what Tarn would do. I'm going to raise him as he tried to raise me when we fled. And I'm going to stab Kieran in the throat. With Scar.
Killing him?
Oh, yeah. He tried to levitate me into the path of a red dragon. Tarn
Alright.
would kill him.
Alright. In this moment, as you all are discussing, Tarn pulls his hands back off of the small, crumpled body of the halfling Kieran, and draws the black long sword at his side, glimmering with this faint purple light, catching the lamps of this chamber, reflecting in almost beautiful patterns, but coldly beautiful, cruelly beautiful. As you take the sword, take it in both hands, and then drive it with one hard chunk into the soft meat of Kieran's throat. Twist once, and the blood spills and spills and spills until there is none left to spill. And Kieran, you are slain. Ericus watches all of this impassively, face expressionless, eyes glimmering with no emotion that any of you can read. An interesting development. May I ask the reason?
He raised me as I was attempting to flee. On another day I would have died. I simply saw this as an eye for an eye.
How quaint. And what of my offer then?
I mean,
You wish for more artifacts?
we can do that.
Believe it or not, I am not so arrogant as to understand that you all would be so kind to work without payment. We will arrange something. These, however, and he gestures to the orb, the heart, and the crystal phylactery, remain with me. I understand that there is a cadre of interlopers traipsing through my wood. They themselves bear many artifacts of great power. Items I would like for myself very dearly. Slay these interlopers. Bring the items to me. And I may deign to reward you. And he stands up, abandoning your ministrations-ish, obviously, stepping past you as if you don't exist, looking to the great, vast mountain of gold and gems in the distance, and even from this far away, lit in the lamps that cast a glow upon the seas of coins, you see many items themselves sticking out of the sea. A sword, a bow, a suit of armor, jewelry and jewelry, wealth beyond riches. The items you bring to me are of great power, this is to be sure. But they are also unique. They serve a special purpose in the scheme of things. They will be of more benefit to me than they will be to you. In place of their value, I have other treasures to offer. Other powers to offer. And the tall elf stands over, stepping past up to all of you. And he stands over the corpse of Kieran Finnegan. And he raises out his right hand, and a light begins to glow in the center of his palm. Small one, he says. Do you wish to live? And Kieran, you hear that voice calling to you just as you have passed into the afterlife, a minute passing and your soul separating from your body as you blink and open your eyes and you stand on the floor of a great wood, a great green wood, beautiful and whole, wholly unlike the Savalier from which you escaped, reminding you of your childhood, of your home. And you hear this voice almost calling you back.
Okay, Kieran would accept it, but he would immediately leave the party.
Yeah, that's understandable. That is
Yeah.
entirely understandable.
Hi, I'm back.
Hello.
You missed something kind of important.
You did. You slut. That's okay.
TLDR.
Kieran's back alive.
Yes. The dragon
Kieran's back alive. Okay.
has offered Kieran resurrection.
Kill him again.
And the white light in the center of the dragon's right palm explodes in a flare. And Kieran, suddenly your eyes flutter open. The wound on your neck closed. The wound in your chest closed. The blood around you instantly dried and puffing away as you look, and suddenly you just look down and you see your bare-skinned chest through the holes in your armor. Your throat soaked in dried blood, but when you raise your hand to touch, no wound that you can see, you are back to full health. What is your immediate reaction?
To cast Snare on Tarn, make a dex save for me, please.
I still have one hand on his chest. Am I not going to notice him moving?
Snare is a 1-minute casting time.
Is it 1 minute? Okay, it is. Never mind. In that case, Tarn, unhand me.
All right, I'll take hand away. Just remember.
Remember?
No, that's it. That's just it.
Don't worry, I will remember this. And he turns and leaves the party.
Kieran, turning and walking, casting no glance at all backward at the group of you, as you go and go deeper and down the length of this tunnel. And the three of you stand, your party now reduced. Ericus in the center of you all, glancing a look between each of you. You are reduced by 2. You'll need replacements. And for the first time, the tall elven figure turns and regards the little gnome who has been attending to him so dutifully all this time. Ish, obviously, you feel a small puff of pride to be regarded by your master, as if you're not just a piece of furniture. It's a rare occurrence. This one. Ish, obviously, he goes by. A curious creature, obsequious and pandering. I grant him to you. He is passable with songs, competent with a blade. He may be an asset. There's one other I would grant to you as well. But they are indisposed at the moment. For the time being, I grant you leave to walk the halls of my fortress, to explore, to meet my subjects and servants. Know this, you are not of my domain, you do not owe me fealty, you may not claim my banner, or call on my services or my aid, it is not freely given. You are merely in my service. We will speak more of this later. And he disappears in place. 1 minute there, and the next, gone.
That went well.
Shit. How tall is Ish, obviously? I'm guessing he's a gnome.
Yes, obviously.
Obviously.
Obviously. I think we're 3 or 4 feet, aren't we, Bert?
Just about, yeah, I mean, anywhere in that range is fine.
Let's say I'm on the shorter end, so 3 feet.
3 feet, oh wow, very small gnome. Even smaller than Ish yours, whose body still lies behind you, Ericus evidently not having extended the offer of revival to that one.
I was wondering about that. I actually have Vicious Body. I've been carrying it the whole time.
Okay, yeah. Carried in your arms, slung over your shoulder. Not that it matters too much, just curious.
Arms.
Okay, yeah, like a baby.
He looks familiar.
Well, I mean, all gnomes.
It is Shabatin. Yeah.
Shall we fucking leave then? Quickly and rapidly?
You don't want to explore the dragon's lair?
No.
Kind of.
My master is a gracious host.
So we're allowed to go around, but we're not allowed like take food or stuff.
Can we like? Is there a front door that doesn't involve a 150-foot climb up a ravine?
Oh, you mean the servants'
yes.
entrance?
Yes, she would actually know of this, and it's right here, actually. That strange pattern in the stone that Kieran saw but scrabbled at fruitlessly. You know. It's almost like a puzzle. An elaborate work of shifting stones about, moving your hands, tracing just the right runes. But you know the way. You've done this many, many times. And eventually the stone cracks open, breaking open and sliding, and you see a spiral staircase leading up, up and up, lit by the light of ever-glowing lamps. This, you know, leads to the surface, as well as with other branching hallways at various points that lead to, say, servants' quarters or various other places throughout.
Yes, follow me this way, chaps.
Okay.
Alright, and you begin to go. Let me take just a second here.
Can just above table, Kutch, do you know what's in Ishur's inventory? Because I fully plan on going through it. before burying.
There's that shield thing.
Oh yeah, could I grab that?
Oh yeah, the shield.
There's the helmet, although I don't know if
Yeah, you've still got the helmet on. You only dropped your jolting rod, which I think Katu
Yeah.
picked up.
I didn't pick up the jolting rod now.
I don't know if
Right.
Arcus took it or not.
Oh, would I be able to
Helmet
pick up my
battles.
pearl of
yeah,
power while I'm here then?
It's still on the
Yeah,
ground.
absolutely.
No,
Yep,
I,
the rod's right there, the circlet's right there, the pearl
I-
right there. I think.
I took the
Yeah,
circular.
you pick up the circlet. I mean, you can just reclaim your items. Eric has had no interest whatsoever in these items.
I'm drinking a potion.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
There
Go ahead
was
and
the
give
orb
yourself
of
a
laughter as well.
could I grab the shield?
Let me, real quick. Let me just send a picture, like a screenshot of his inventory. That would make things easier.
Okay.
There's also a bunch of miscellaneous items in his backpack, like a sensor and a blanket and such as. But I don't think any of you care about that shit. All right.
Oh, requires attunement. I'll take the sapphire.
I mean, let's assume we're taking everything green and above.
Yeah.
Mm.
Give the
Ish,
staff
obviously.
to
Andy.
Zamara, the one of pure waters.
Ish, what's your general intention? Are you planning to lead them to the surface, or to the servants' quarters to have a rest, or the guest rooms, or?
I imagine they would need a rest, so let's take them to the servants' quarters, the bedchamber places.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. You know your way through this place, having been here for a decent amount of time, having done quite a bit of work here. Well, rewarding work, sustaining work. You know, the kind fulfilling work is the word. You're quite proud of your duties, and you know perfectly where to lead these guests. It's hard to say where they fall on the hierarchy of things. If you could bed them with the servants, if it would be wise to leave them in the guest chambers. So ultimately, you deign on the safer side and send them to where the servants would be. This long hallway with many stone doors lining either side, alternating, that open up into these chambers of wide, austere stone. With decently comfortable beds, actually. Fine clothing, decent mattresses, fine cloth and decent mattresses, dressers and furniture and such. Lamps that burn with eternal fire, that are quite hot if you put your hands on them, so you've learned not to put your hands on them.
I put my hands on them.
For how long?
Joking.
Yeah, I would say Ericus did not specify if each of them should get their own room or not, so for the time being, you lead them into one larger sized servant's chamber with 3 beds along one wall and 3 beds along another. Not yours-ish. You have a slightly higher place. Not quite a private room, but you only have to share it with one other person. You're quite proud of that. But this room is empty, no one else sleeps in it, so it has 6 beds in total. Enough to house each of you. Katu's still carrying the corpse.
You could all rest here for the evening before we begin our journey.
I'll nod and get ready for bed.
Should we not inform Talir and Zamara that we're down here?
Probably.
I've already taken care of that and sent them a message.
Welcome on.
Very well then.
I think
So
to remind everyone that we are kind of on the clock here a little bit.
If I'm assuming this is going to only be an 8-hour long rest because we're in here, not the wilderness.
Yep. Yeah, that is generally correct. It would be only 8 hours. I would even say, if you wanted to have like a poke about for like, I don't know, 2 of those hours or so, exploring the place, you could do that and it wouldn't get in the way of the rest.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get anything else out with this dragon. And if we try and steal something, we're going to be fucked.
Patty was going to spend the 2 hours cleaning Ish's body and burying him.
I'm gonna.
Ish obviously whether or not it ends up being relevant, you know that this place is almost like its own underground town with its own semi, air quotes, economy. There's a blacksmithy, a tailor, an armory, a place where such mundane goods can be crafted or sold, an alchemist. Every It's almost like a grand interworking machine with many interworking parts, and everyone has their own place down here.
Moorish would ask Ish if he could show him around after he's meditated for 4 hours.
Why, indubitably, my good man. Where would you like to travel?
Well, I mean, is there anything like I could purchase or get some food or something like that?
We have some of the finest chefs and blacksmiths known in this fine land.
Which is the Savalier, which is not known at all for
Yeah.
chefs or blacksmiths, but Ish seems quite proud of what he has to offer.
I will get some stuff. I've got. I mean, do you want to give me some gold? But I've got a fair
Yeah.
amount, to be fair. But like, you
I'll
know.
send it. I'll give it to you when you get back.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, then yeah, let's head out. Let's show me around.
I'll come with if you're poking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get.
Like that.
So Ish would obviously know where and where we can't go. I'm assuming. Moorish assumes, and so
Yes,
you
yep.
know he wouldn't take us anywhere that would lead us to danger. So Yeah.
That you know of.
that I know of. Insight
Led by
check.
this. Go ahead and make an insight check.
No, so close to a fucking 90.
Coach, is Ish obviously on the level?
At the minute, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright.
Doesn't seem to be any foul play involved. So you're looking to pick up like healing potions and other basic supplies?
I want to see if there's anything valuable of interest here as well.
Is there
Being that
anything
this.
spicy in the black? Yeah. is
Yeah,
there anything
yeah.
Spicy in the blacksmith.
Yeah, absolutely. Making your way through, Ish obviously leads you past the servants' quarters, down this long hallway, eventually going into this staircase leading downward, these steep stone steps that some of you have to mind. Well, actually, Ish has to mind, being on the shorter side, but the rest of you are relatively fine. But eventually, the hallway opens up into this sweeping semicircular, almost courtyard that stretches out a long way, very long, a vast underground space, the sky, the ceiling widening and broadening up above you, hung with these lamps that look almost like stars, almost creating this impression of an underground sky. You see in the distance these almost like holes in the walls carved into the stone, creating these recessed alcoves from which you can hear people at work. The sound of a hammer striking iron as a blacksmith works at the side of a forge. You smell on the air the sharp and bitter tang of medicines and poultices being crafted. You hear some couple in argument, some guy going, "Oh, you shorted me, you son of a bitch, you owe me 3 silver," and the other one going, "I didn't short you shits," and so on and so forth. You see in the center this raised pavilion of these stone struts with a perfectly unnecessary roof, sheltering from the non-existent rain in this underground place, but it looks quite artful. And there is a bar and several tavern-like tables and chairs, and a man manning it, serving out drinks to a couple of people in this space. Ish, obviously, you know that this is almost like your master's own personal kingdom that he's founded here beneath the Savalier Wood. How exactly he's done this, you're not entirely privy to the details, but you know that Ericus has been expanding this domain for some time, creating of it his own nation. His own people, taxes, fiefs, and levies to do with as he pleases.
As you can see, we are terribly advanced and have nothing but the finest things.
Can we head to a blacksmith or some sort of trading store post?
Yes, I shall take you to MC Hammer, the finest smith. I will put in a good word and hopefully he will give you a nice discount.
Okay.
MC Hammer. Morelius Caucus Hammer. A tall and lumbering human man with great barrels for muscles, these huge forearms covered in hair like a bear. Although you notice that his forearms are actually hairless up to a certain point, the hair seeming to have been burned away by the heat of his forge. Wearing thick gloves as he hammers away at a red-hot length of steel. Behind him, you see these racks of swords and blades, other such laid out. Many of them having the look of not mass-produced, that's not quite the word, but almost like formulaic work, as if he's been repeatedly creating the same item over and over again, perhaps with the intention of arming a great force. But you also see a few other interesting items poking about. MC Hammer looks up at the group of you as you approach. A look of suspicion and distrust in his eyes at first before he notices the quite obvious form of Ish, obviously, and his expression relaxes a little bit. No, you've brought me something.
Yes, my good man. It is so nice to see you again on this wonderful day.
Fucking hell it is.
Haha, you're such a joy, or joker. Our glorious, almighty, praise his name, for he shall live forever, Lord Arrakis, has employed these fine gentlemen, and they would like to peruse your fine wares. Would you be able to assist?
Be able to? You insult me, Ish. Of course I'm able to. Question is, if these so-and-sos are worthy of what I have to... And his voice trails a little bit as he looks and perhaps for the first time properly noticing the massive 9 feet suit of armor Tarn is wearing. Huge and imposing in this space, blotting out the light of the lanterns above. Boris looking significantly less impressive, but still quite in your suit of scale mail armor, purple black and shimmering with the clear what's the word I'm looking for? Iridescence of the mine stalkers that are native to the Savalier Wood. And then his haughty, arrogant diatribe stops just a little bit. It says, okay, well, maybe I'm being a little full of myself, but yeah, I've got some stuff. It's pretty good. What do you want?
What have you got? Something that doesn't require attunement.
Something that doesn't require attunement. It's a broad stroke to be casting. I have a lot in the back. Stuff that I'm not quite willing to present.
You sure?
Looking for protection, damage, something interesting.
Something interesting.
Tell me what you think would be interesting to a man wearing this armor, Smith.
You will call me MC, thank you.
Stop. It's hammer time.
Hammer time. He strikes a blow with his hammer. Give me just a moment.
Damn,
I think I have something that might be of interest. And the tall human man goes and steps behind his blacksmith's forge, disappearing into his back room for a moment, leaving you all alone.
How long have you been here, Ish? Seems to be a fairly common name around these parts. Ish?
Mr. Kutch?
Ish is dead, everyone.
We've lost him. Start CPR.
Ah!
Oh.
Okay. The human returns for a moment later, the door clattering open as he enters, holding in his hands an interesting chest. It's not very large, square-shaped, probably about 2.5 feet in width, 1 foot high, and sets it on a table before you all, and then pops it open. And you see inside, one, on the left side, a hammer. It's just a simple worksman's hammer. It doesn't look particularly special. A dark a dark wooden handle of some kind of wood you can't really quite tell. It looks heavy and flawless, as most magic items tend to be, and a silver head inscribed faintly with these intricate letterings. And the hammer, MC Hammer, you fucking bastard, hefts the hammer in his hands and says, "This is what is known as a hammer of creation. It's a potent artifact. I've used it a few times myself in dire moments. It is a creation, or it is a tool of artifice. It works any raw materials that you press it to in a matter of moments. And all you need do is imagine what you wish to create. You still need the material, of course, and you need the imagination and the creativity to envision what it is you want to make. And its magic is limited. I reckon this has perhaps 6 strikings left in it before it is tapped. For this wondrous artifact, however, I would require no less than 1,500 gold pieces." On the other side, the left side of the box, there is a jar of paint. Well, actually, just a jar. That's all you can see. This clay ceramic jar doesn't look anything particularly remarkable, but MC Hammer goes and takes hands and twists the lid off, and you see inside this swirling, ever-moving torrent, this whirlpool of black ink and paint, just swirling in on itself, swirling with many, many colors, like in a spiral. This is known as the ink of binding. It is used to draft contracts. Crafted from the blood of a great devil, it can be used to draft an agreement. Written in paper or stone, the ink creates a magical link, enforcing the contract's completion. The terms that you set in it are iron bounds. A creature bound to these terms cannot break them, unless they wish to be broken in turn. And that extends to you as well, should you set terms upon yourself. All that needs doing to complete the contract is to sign your name. For this, 2,000 gold pieces.
We could do some absolute fuckery with that.
This hammer, does it require attunement?
It does not. The magic is inherent to itself.
It does require imagination, though.
Yeah, we can sort that. Any chance of bringing down the price a tad?
He scowls. Make a persuasion check.
My rolls have been fucking me tonight.
18. Down. Down how far?
We would have Ish's gold.
13.
Oh yeah.
13.
Ish left everything to his cult.
Oh yeah, fuck. God damn.
That's
Yeah,
his...
but he doesn't. We don't know that.
Did Ish write a will?
It was
you
on his
have
body.
any-
It was on his
did you
body
have-
when he died.
yeah. Did you have any gold in your inventory, Coach? Because that photo doesn't have your gold.
Might have been a couple of hundred.
284. 284.
So,
Alright, as you say this, 1300. MC Hammer scowls even further. Less 200. For 200, I could feed this entire fortress. Arm them with steel and bolts and arrows.
I'll also pull out the Pearl of Power and stick it on the counter.
His scowl recedes a little bit. This has some magic to it. Have you used it today?
No.
Okay. He picks it up and you can see the arcane light clearly swirling within. This and your 1300, and the hammer is yours.
Deal.
He smiles just quickly, and then lifts the hammer up and presses it into your hands. And I don't have a custom item for that written up yet, but
it's
you
cool.
can add that as an item, and I will write it out later.
Alright, cool.
But you have the gist of it.
1300 show, that's 30 platinum and 1,000 gold. Rock and roll.
What of the ink?
Tarn wouldn't be interested in it. I am, as a person. Tarn, it wouldn't be Tarn's thing.
No, I don't think that would be.
Tarn doesn't really do subterfuge.
Well, it is a rather niche item. Nasty, nasty stuff, in fairness. Would not wish such a thing on my worst enemy. I shudder to think of what he would do with it. And he closes up the crate and brings it back into his back room. Now, is there anything else I can help you find gentlemen with today?
Healing potions?
Ah, you will want my friend down the street. Lamora. She'll help you out. And he points across the way to a alcove where you can see the workings of an alchemist shop through the glass panes of a window. There's a wooden wall set in place of this carved out stone hole, and you just see the window and the door. And through the window, some kind of distillery hard at work. Strange liquids bubbling in glass vials.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the hammer and providing everyone else wants to leave.
Yeah, we can go get potions.
Okay. Before we do that, let's circle back. Katu, you have been going over the preparations with Ish's body. I'd say it doesn't take you too long. An hour's work, if that, to have him prepared and ready. He is clean, he is whole, and he is thoroughly dead.
Yep. Kato just, I don't know what the prayers are because I haven't looked them up, but she says the appropriate prayers from the Raven Queen and buries him, I suppose. I don't know if anyone else came with me, but
Heading upstairs, past the way that Ish obviously pointed out to you to reach the surface, you emerge sometime later, out into the light of the Savalier Wood. It is now approaching dark, evening. You're in slightly unfamiliar terrain, some distance away from the ravine, but after a moment's searching, you begin to see the clearing in the distance, and you trudge toward it. Eventually, you find a space that seems suitable enough. On a slight incline, a hill, the trees parting just a little bit to offer some view of the sky, so that Ish will not be completely shrouded in darkness as he rests. And you go through your prayers. The Raven Queen, who safeguard fate and the rightful ending of mortals, the rightful destination, the return to the cycle, the soul to be brought back so that it may find a new body to inhabit, a new place in destiny, a new role to fulfill. And you say these prayers, and you dig the hole, and you lay Ish down into it. Sometime later, you hear rustling in the trees, and you look up, hand going toward your weapon before you see it's Samara, walking through the woods, eyes solemn, looking down upon the small body of Ish yours, covered in the first layer of dirt. She doesn't say anything, just stands before you in the grave as you shovel, and eventually Ish is cast to the earth and left there. Kieran, you fled out through the tunnel, running as fast as you could.
Usti's deafened, by the way.
Ah, shit. Let me poke him. Undeafen whore.
I he's making his backup.
Yeah, that's what we were discussing. He had a vague impression of his backup. To be honest, he has like 3 backup characters, but every time he makes one, like 2 weeks later, he wants to make a new one. So anyway, he's in the process of working that, I'm sure. But
What happened to Randy Savage one?
That's mine.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Can we kill Moorish, please? No.
I'm not gonna wait for him. We'll circle back. Moorish and Tarn, making way to the alchemist, led by Ish, obviously. Ish, you know Lamora to be a kind and warm woman, of great sincerity, and quick to praise that which she finds admirable in people, quick to compliment and smile and be charmful, and also quick to temper, very easy to anger if one word is said wrong. A woman of great extremes is Lamora. You lead them to the alchemist and open the door for them, offering the way. And this woman stands behind the counter, a halfling with summer blonde hair, like straw, tumbling down to an artful curl over her shoulders. She looks up and flashes a smile as she sees these people enter. A smile brightest at you-ish, for some reason. And then goes back to her work, saying, "Oh, hello. How can I help you? You've come at just the right time. I was in the middle of finishing this most perfect batch of flavoring." Her inflection is a little odd over the last word. You don't know what to make of that.
Ah, Miss Lamora, looking beautiful as ever. You should try her honeycomb and raspberry health potions. They taste divine.
Oh, Ish, such a flatterer. You'll give a girl the wrong impression. You keep talking like that.
Ish gives a little wink.
With your eyes spaced quite far apart and quite large, set in your head. But she smiles and looks a little furtively down at her feet. He's quite right about the potions. They're very, very nice, she says, tucking one strand of hair behind her ear, fussing at it a little nervously. Quite delicious. I'm quite proud of the taste, actually. Most health potions that I found are dreadful, truly dreadful, brackish and bitter, like oil going down your throat. I'll not stand for it. This is a place of refinement, and I sell only the best. Raspberry and honey clove. She pushes out one such potion from her shelf, laying it on the table. This glass filter. Otherwise looks pretty much like a standard potion. But she uncorks it, and the smell coming off it is quite delectable. Well, I guess I'm making a terrible assumption. Is it health potions you're after, or are there other things I can help you with?
Yeah, help. I mean, anything else that you've got? Any alchemical supplies or whatnot? Morris will have a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Confused look on his face while Ish is talking to this woman as well. Like seeing their interactions.
What's there to be confused about, man?
I mean, it's just more that he's a very peculiar individual from what I've seen already. I've never run into
Dapper, I think.
someone so eccentric, let's say.
Perhaps sensing some of your consternation and your confusion, Lamora regards Ish obviously with a warm smile and says, you'll not take this the wrong way, gentle sir. Of course not, I know, but his face is perhaps on the artful side, I know, but his songs, his voice, divine. You should hear him play in the tavern some nights. Then, hearing the beauty of his verse, you'll understand that his is merely a face with character.
I'm sure it would be most wonderful, and I only say this because I want to hear Coach sing. Yeah. Okay. When do you next perform, Ish?
Oh, I give performances every now and again. Normally on a Thursday after tea.
Oh, would you look at the time? It looks like now.
It's Thursday after tea.
Good heavens, would you look at the time?
Okay. Well,
We'll make you sing, Coach.
I'll have to.
Okay, we'll get there.
I'll have to catch your next performance. If it's as wonderful as you say it is.
I'm sure we'll have many a sing-along around the campfire on our journeys.
Okay.
Kumbaya is one of my favourites.
I love how they have a Catholic religious song in D&D.
Get in there.
Kumbaya, my adult red dragon. Kumbaya.
Yeah, I mean, what have you got in stock?
It depends on what you're after, really. I've got many things. The basic healing potions, of course, and a few of greater quality. I have a few interesting filters, if that is what you are interested in. A potion that will render you invisible. One that will allow you to command the wind for a brief time. One that will give someone a very terrible case of indigestion. Various prices.
Okay, this controlling wind potion.
It's exactly the one I wanted.
I mean, you can you go for it, man. You go for it. I've been doing a lot of buying. You get first pick this time.
Tell me of this wind potion.
Yes. When you drink it, it feels like a thunderstorm in your stomach. It's actually not for those of poor constitution. You will
So it's
vomit your
Chipotle.
lunch. You will vomit your lunch quite violently if you are not careful. But should you attain enough mastery over what you have drank, the wind itself will appear to you as these glowing lines upon the air. You will understand it, see it, know it, its contours and its traces like a lover, and call it to you. For 10 all too short and all too long minutes, you'll gain the ability to fly with it, to cast swirling storms of thunder at your foes, and to turn aside arrows and bolts that fly at you as easy as you would brush your hand.
And how much for the pleasure of this power?
1,000 gold pieces.
Good fucking lord.
How much do you have, Tan?
What's the equivalent of a platinum again?
10.
Platinum piece?
One platinum is 10 gold.
Oh, so it'd be 10 platinum.
10 platinum would be 100 gold. 100
I'm
platinum
an
would be
idiot.
1,000.
I'm an idiot and I don't know
You-
maths. This is why I drive trucks for a living.
Just add a 0 on, basically.
I'll take it.
Very well. I appreciate that you haven't tried to haggle with me. Some of these people have such terrible lack of manners. It is a store, you know. I'm not in a bazaar here, and most of my profits go to Lord Ericus anyway, to fund the nation, or our kingdom, our holdfast. Anyway,
That's fine.
I'm rambling. It is yours.
All communities need straightforward talking. I scratch my back. Wait, I scratch my back? Oh, fuck me, I've ruined that. Jesus Christ. Never mind. Okay, I'll take the potion. Do you have any other potions that might assist me in combat?
Just the other two I've mentioned. If you think indigestion would aid you, there is that.
What
For a pittance of 10 gold pieces.
this invisibility is what are the terms of it? What can I do while invisible without becoming uninvisible?
It is powerful. First, hang
What's that potion for the purposes of adding it to my inventory? Verb?
on. It's gonna be a custom item right up, so just call it Potion of Wind for now, and I'll write something up in just a sec.
Okay, days.
Lamora holds up this filter of pure nothing. It just looks like empty glass, but when she swirls it, you can hear the faint sound of liquid within. It is a powerful invisibility, unlike the mundane tricks that low-level wizards can produce. It lasts only 1 minute, but nothing shall break it. Strike, scream, activate artifacts of unparalleled power, you will remain perfectly invisible, as will anything you hold.
Morris's eyes are gonna gleam at this. How much?
The same price as the wind, 1,000 gold pieces.
Shit. Okay. Bit out of my remit at the moment.
I can cover that if you really need it.
No, I don't really need it. I don't really
We've got
need
that.
it.
We've
If you,
got that.
okay, I'll
200
rephrase it.
we've got
If you
that-
really want it.
No, I
we've got
no.
that 200.
It's fine. It's fine.
We've got the 280 gold from Ish. So you need 720 gold.
I've got 700, but I also need to buy healing potions and such. So I
I'll give you 350 gold. If Kato gives you 350, and then you can get it with the gold from Ish.
oh,
and that's everything
I've got 70 platinum pieces on me. So I have 700 gold on me.
I have
So
about
you have
4,000.
so you have 1400 gold
You give you.
essentially. Mm.
You have 3,800.
What the fuck?
Holy fuck.
I mean,
Katya hasn't spent shit.
if you're willing to spot me some cash, then yeah, I'll take it.
Kadu is not exactly the
Material
monetarily
type.
obsessed type. She doesn't really care.
Hello, yes, I'd like a nuclear bomb.
It's functional. It's functional for her. It's not something she could desire.
Okay.
It's just a question of what she can get with it.
I mean, if you're willing to spot me some gold for it as well, yeah.
Are you covering the whole thing, Kato, or do you want gold from me as well?
No, it's good.
Kieran has 3,900.
But Kieran is running away with that. Okay,
He'll
are
be
you
back.
spotting the whole thing, Katu?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I will assume that you did some covert adding and lending of gold in beforehand, and yeah, you're easy enough. You just hand over the 1,000 and you get this clear glass vial. Go ahead and add a potion of greater invisibility to your inventory. I don't know if that's an actual item or not, but if it isn't, I'll write one up.
What was the whole price?
A 1,000 flat.
It is not. I'll just do potion of invisibility at the moment, and we'll
Make
just...
sure to specify greater invisibility, just because it is a specific thing.
Yeah,
so
no,
just write that in as a custom item, and I'll do something for it later.
I mean, I know. Yeah, it's fine. I know the rules of greater invisibility, so it's.
Mhm.
Oh fucking.
All right. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Healing potions.
How many? I have 4 of the basics, just freshly made and ready to go. Any more than that would leave our armies without supplies, and as well as 1 greater.
We'll take the lot.
All of it. Very well. That would come to about 400 gold in total.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pay for that. It's fine. So 40 platinum down.
Okay. Finishing your purchases for at least at this store, unless you want the indigestion potion.
No.
Okay. We will leave you there for now, as you count out pieces of gold and sacks and slide them across the counter and pocket your newfound filters and vials. Made, you can see Tarn as you hold it in your massive armor hand of magically enchanted glass, such that it will not break easily in your hand. We go now to a few hours before. Kieran, freshly resurrected, on your feet, the dried blood still coating your neck, running down your chest and your shirt and your armor. As you run down and down the length of this tunnel, eventually emerging out into the bottom of this ravine, looking up, seeing the sky above, the rope still dangling over the side. I take it you're fleeing?
Yeah, I'm going back to what was that called? Caes Faloran, because the Trebane mark called me.
Nice for Karam. Okay. Going there, climbing over the rope, eventually
I would
reaching the top.
I would also like to take one of those draft horses with me.
Okay. Alright. You bought one for yourself, right?
That's right.
For ease of use, we'll just assume you take that one, along with its many
Contents.
rations.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Karen steals Julian's inventory on the way past.
Well, okay, as you get to the top here, you see Talir and Zamara standing watch, looking out over the forest uneasily. Talir looking back over his shoulder, seeing you, Kieran, approaching at the top, a look of concern on his face. Kieran, are you alright? You look hurt.
I'll be fine once I am far away from that psychopath.
What's happened? Are you... Where are you
Tarn,
going?
Tarn fucking killed me.
His eyes widen. But you're alive.
Ah, long story. Well, turns out that dragon's actually an elven demigod of some sort. He resurrected me. I think. Not 100% sure. But I'm not staying here any more than I have to. I'm off. Good luck to you.
Talir is just stunned. Zamara looking back and also watching wide-eyed, as, assumedly without another word, Kieran mounts his horse, cracks the whip, cracks the reins, and sets off into the forest, making good time. Untethered by your party, not having to worry about leading these lesser experienced people through the dangers of the Savalier Wood, you make very good time, Kieran, moving and moving. We leave the rest of the party momentarily as you go through the woods, finding your way, tracing back almost, not quite effortlessly, but
Keep in mind.
easily through the Savalier Wood. Exactly. Yep. Thing about the Savalier is that it almost seems to have a mind of its own. Paths that you've traced before, that you know to be clear, shift as it can't be possible that the trees are moving, uprooting themselves and replanting. That's not right. And that's clearly not what's happening, but the terrain warps, alters. But still, your mind is indeed extremely keen and your experience vast when it comes to navigating places like these, and you make your way back over the course of days and nights. I'm going to ask you to make 3 Constitution saving throws for me.
Okay. 1,
Ooh, that's a fail.
2, 3.
That's a fail. And let me do some math real quick. And let me get my pen. Do I have a pen? I have Jolly Ranchers. I do have a pen. Okay. Alright. 2 failures. Roll a d8 for me.
Yep. Do we roll just the 1 or 2?
Just the 1d8. And let me get this PDF in my hand. Okay. That is a 1. That is excellent. Oh, 1. As you make this flight, Kieran, the stench of the recklessness was your prior affliction, but now it is joined by another. As you find on the 3rd day of travel, making excellent time through these woods, navigating past dangers and hazards, that your hands that grip the rein hurt, or the reins hurt as you go to begin your daily ride, and you pull your hands away and you see these sores, these blisters and wounds opened up on your palms, seeping this foul pus. And you look across your arms and you see more of them broken out across your skin, seeping pus and liquid and traces of blood all throughout. But otherwise,
Would I be able to get rid of that with Cure Wounds?
you can attempt it, and it eases the pain a little bit, maybe closes a few of them, but an hour later, 2 hours, you find that they reopen. Let me leave this here. But you continue to make your way there, and eventually, you come in sight of Kais Fakarim, the fortress in the mountain, its shattered walls looming up in the distance before you. And each night that you have gone and traveled, you have felt the glyph mark on your hand, pulsing and burning on your skin. And each night that you have slept, you have felt a calling in your dreams, a stirring. And on the 3rd night, just before you would wake up to discover these sores broken out across your body, you saw the face of Lord Darko Trebane in your dreams. The ancient, wizened elf with his deep features, the well-worn grooves in his face, the wrinkles, the pale white hair, long, the stately figure, looking to you, locking eyes with you, and telling you, Kieran, you have a place. You are wanted.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure.
This seems kind of sus, not gonna
This is a
lie.
little bit sus.
22. You have a place. You are wanted.
It's not sus, Pete, not sus.
And on the 3rd day, toward the end of the travel, you make your horse and rear up within sight of the fortress. You can see it's been somewhat worked on, actually. You see wooden palisades now, stretching over the shattered sections of the walls, log walls erected and tied together with powerful ropes, mortared together in such cases, replacing the shattered sections of walls. You see lights burning from within windows. But the glyph mark does not pull you to the fortress itself. It pulls you southward, in the direction of Shady Creek Run, somewhere in between that and Kaisvakarum. It pulls you toward the Turbane army marching on the fortress to reclaim what they have lost. And that's where we will leave Kieran, for now. Later on, I will ask you what Kieran might decide to do.
I'll get back
But
to
for
my
now-
other thing.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Usti. Best of luck.
Thanks,
Likely...
dude, it's not prepared at all.
Nah, don't worry, man. Likely it's not even going to come up because we have more stuff to do this session. I don't think we're going to be doing any fighting or adventuring just yet. But I will continue to hit you up on that as things progress. We return now to the rest of the group. Morish and Tarn and Ish having finished up with the alchemist. Katu having buried the corpse of Ish. The earth now finally compacted, pressed down by your feet. Create a peaceful resting place for your friend. What do you do as the burial concludes, Katu?
Samara's still there. She shares a few words with Samara. I mean, Samara's lost 2 companions now in this short amount of time. One slightly more important than the other.
Gets right. Ish was precious to us all.
Shady
We
Creek. will never
barely
be the
knew
same.
him.
The thunder rest his soul.
Turns out he's actually a martyr now.
That's actually a fair point.
Yeah, Saint Ish.
Yeah, Saint Ish. Died
Same,
for our sins.
same ish of yours.
Right. You speak solemnly and long. In the twilight now, as the sun sets over the corpse, the grave. Before eventually you make your way back to the fortress. Morish and Tarn and Ish, any other preparations you would like to make in this time?
Buy some rations.
You have your potions and your gear.
I just wanted to buy. Yeah, I wanted to buy. Is there a stronger potion I can buy? I didn't mention that when we were doing the potion. Sorry, we went off on the Kieran thing, and I was just being quiet.
A
something
stronger potion.
Something stronger than just a standard health potion. So
we
not
got
the
one
that heals
great. We
10.
got one greater healing out of that.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, on offer was 4 regular potions, 1 greater, and Morish bought those up.
Oh, okay,
Um,
no, that's fine. Then I missed that
if-
part. I'm sorry.
If you would like to, if you'd like to ask Lamora if she has anything deeper, you, as she hands over these 5 regular potions, you get the faintest sense that there might be more, that she might be holding something back.
My dear, I sense some hesitancy. You're not holding out on us, are you? We're paying full price. We're helping you. Maybe you could help us. Tarn winks.
Her expression shifts momentarily with confusion and then irritation as she looks over at you. Good sir, what are you implying? That I'm not aiding you to the best of my ability? I'll have you know my customer service is top notch. If you are accusing me of anything, I will not stand for it. Simply will not.
I never said your customer service was anything other than exemplary. However, we are paying top coin, and I sense that someone with a bit more knowledge like you. These potions are slightly below what I assume you could craft. You seem so magnanimous. No, that's not the word I want. Fuck, I've ruined that.
No, you're fine, man.
You seem much more skilled than these simple potions. Are you sure you're not holding out on us? Tarn is attempting to be cheeky, but he's obviously in this giant fucking mech suit.
Right, yeah. Make a persuasion check.
Oh god. Oh no.
I'm not. The DC's not super high on that. That's a 2.
It doesn't matter.
Is there any way?
She bristles.
Morris, get in.
Yeah,
Morris.
yeah. We need your charisma.
She bristles, her face going quickly to a front, and she looks at Ish with a look of almost hatred, the most virulent hatred you've ever seen on a woman's face, Ish. And she says, "Gentle sir, you bring these people into my establishment, making these accusations of me, saying that I'm not implying that I would be hiding something?"
Yeah, I insinuated she was better than what she has on show. If anything, I was dapping her up mad.
That is definitely the case, but with your 2 persuasion, she misinterprets your words, or perhaps you bungle up the phrasing.
I can't
Or
speak to
perhaps
You can speak to
certainly can
men,
speak to
though. You and Renly had a thing.
and Kieran, before you killed him. But she looks to you, Ish, with this look of annoyance and almost betrayal.
Ah, my dear Lemora, I am sorry for the uncouth civilities from this barbarian. It is our master Arrakis's wish, though, that we entertain these folk. If you will be so gracious to forgive his misspoken tongue, and I will give you a personal song later.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Ah, you touch my da-la-la.
Oh, buddy. That's
My ding ding, my ding ding dong.
Might as,
Ding, ding,
might as
dong.
well bring it again. Roll it again just in case. Roll it again just in case.
120.
Oh well, 24 is still great. Her face softens, and her shoulders, which are tense and tightened, slump a little bit. She gives a sigh and says, But of course, how can we expect barbarians to act with the grace of gentlemen, such as yourself? Very well, Sir Ish, I will accept your entreaty. And for all his indelicately spoken words, he is not incorrect. I do have filters of much greater power than this. She disappears from one into her back room with a swish of her skirts, disappearing around the door for just a moment, leaving you all alone for a minute or two. Before she returns, holding a much grander potion, very large and with this dark ruby color, deep and beautiful, swirling almost with its own perpetual motion within the glass as she sets it on the counter. This is a superior healing potion. It will mend wounds of immense nature. It is quite dear. I had been hoping to save it to impress Master Ericus in a pressing moment, but I suppose given enough time I could make another.
Given that we will be in service to Lord Ericus, I will report back to him on the effectiveness of your, no doubt, incredible potion.
She scowls. With manners like yours, good sir, I would appreciate you spend as little time talking of me to him as possible.
I do apologize, I grew up in the woods, I'm not very good at being delicate. And he just tenses in his fucking massive armor.
And she sees
This-
nothing because you're in massive armor.
This little halfling woman, I assume your face is exposed
Not like
at least.
tenses, it'll move, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Skin tight.
It's made by Under Armour.
It's actually like a leotard, like a lithe bodysuit this entire time, like a leather cat suit.
Full latex.
It has a tutu and a tail.
Yep.
I'm just seeing the green suit that Idubs wore. That's on Tarn now. That's who I see as Tarn.
No,
I'm
this
Tarn.
short halfling woman, about 4 feet tall, not even half of your height, Tarn. She stands possibly to about your knee. Looks up at you with arms crossed, absolutely defiant, absolutely not giving any fucks whatsoever, though you could crush your head in your palm with just a little twitch.
Do it.
She says, Whatever. Will you buy it? 800 gold pieces.
Yeah, sure.
She pushes it across the counter without another word. And then shoots a significant look at Ish, obviously. You'll not forget your promise, will you, gentle sir?
I would never dream of it, although I do dream of it.
She blushes. Well, okay. She says awkwardly. In any case, I have nothing else to sell to you all. perhaps you could come back on another day. And, thank you, as always, Sir Ish. And thank you for your business, uncouth sir. And slightly more couth, sir.
Ish gives a little boy.
She gives a curtsy in response. Alright.
Thank you.
She does not. She ignores you as you thank her. The rest of you. Any other preparations? I know you mentioned rations.
Well, gentlemen, is there anywhere else you want to visit?
We need to get food for the road.
And Katu, at
How-
this point, I would say with the burial complete, you could rejoin them if you wish, or you could retire to the room.
Sorry, what?
At
I
this
assumed
point,
we're taking a rest anyway, are we not?
yeah, I'm just if you want to join Morris and Tarn in the gallivanting, you have the option to as you finish the burying, or you can just retire to your room or do whatever else Katu you think would do.
Kata would retire to the room and rest because she is not in good shape.
25
just
hit points.
Do our long resty poos.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd go and rest. I'll get some
Um,
food, like an amount of rations that I can pick up for like 100 gold.
You could get a lot for 100 gold, to be honest. Each ration is like 5 silver.
Maybe not that many
So
then.
you
Do
said-
50. I'll do 100
That
rations.
is a lot.
100 rations. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be what 100 rations.
Well, how many have we
50
lost
gold.
with Kieran taking one horse?
50 gold. Yeah.
It had 60 rations in it.
Okay, so we've lost 60.
60, 65, one or two. Can't remember. Bit drunk.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's fine. I've added the rations.
Perfect. Easy enough. Ish leads you to a portly elven man with a beer gut. You're not used to seeing elves with beer guts. Usually they're very lithe and slender fellows. And this guy looks chubby, a little slobby. He's got some spilled material of some kind on his shirt as he's eating away at a canister of some kind. He lifts up his spoon and you see this glob of white stuff. And he just shovels into his mouth and looks up and says, "Oh, hello, good to see you. Give me just a moment," as he finishes up his food, and then sells you the rations, and you're on your way.
Rock and roll. Yeah, have a rest.
All right. The rest of you all return to the servants' chambers that Ish showed to you. These 6 beds arrayed in rows. And there's nothing left to do but sleep, I suppose. It's been a long day. Your wounds mended in some places with magic, others with potions. But magic and potions are forcible things. They almost seem to forcibly reset the body back into its natural state, and the wounds that they heal never heal quite right. You never feel quite naturally mended until you finally take that rest. Many of you, your heads hit the pillows and you are out like lights. Some of you are awake for longer than that. But we'll leave you 3 for the time being, and we will go to a different place.
Sorry, before we go, can I just make an excuse and say I have matters to attend to?
Mm-hmm. You certainly can.
Yeah, I mean,
Go on your own way, Ish, obviously.
Yes, to Lamora.
Sing your private song.
Yes.
Make a performance check for me. Oh, 19. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Absolute shagger.
You sing a lovely ballad-ish, obviously. A song proclaiming the virtues of the Lady Lamora. She of the straw blonde hair and the summer blue eyes. She, skilled with poultices and potions, a mender of wounds, a fixer of hearts. And the owner, the capturer of yours. Your one true love, your beloved. The apple of your eye. You
Oh,
sing
we
her
didn't
praises.
go for that.
Well, oh, it's just in the song, man. It's
Alright.
performance. You know how it
Oh.
goes.
Oh, yeah.
And the song plays long into the night. A beautiful harmony. A song to remember. But we will leave that and you and the party for just a moment as we go to a different place. A darker place. This is something none of you see. None of you presently alive see. As Zale opens his eyes,
Wait, what?
you
Okay.
stand in a luminous forest. Trees of white birch shooting up into a dark moonlit sky. The stars above and the moon, full and bright, looming over you, casting harsh radiance upon you. You look down. You are naked. Entirely so. Hands held before you, looking up, looking around, nothing but these stark white trees. Confused. Desperate. No, not desperate, that's not quite the word, but definitely confused. Emerging as if from a long sleep, blinking away. All you remembered was coldness and pain and the feel of teeth biting into the back of your skull. Instinctively, you raise your hand to your cranium as if to expect blood and brains, and you find nothing but hair. And as you pull your hand back, you see one such hair captured in your palm, but not black, pure, stark white.
What the fuck?
You stand in this forest. You have no idea. From what you had seen of the Savalier Wood, this is not that. These trees are too straight and orderly, too beautiful. All of this is beautiful, coldly so. A land unfamiliar to you as the moonlight shines down upon you. And then you hear a voice resonating in your skull like thunder, so loud and cold and piercing it rips right through you, you almost have to put your hands to your temples as the voice thunders. Servant! You have been an instrument for some time. I have guided you, nurtured you, led you. And now you have fallen. Now you have died. Do you know who I am, child? Do you know this voice that speaks to you?
I've never heard your voice.
No, you have not. Because you
But-
have been too deaf to hear it.
I sense a familiarity.
Zale, I have been with you. I have watched you. Guided you. And now, I wish to test you. It is within my power to bring you back, understand, for your work is not finished. But such things are
What do
not
you ask
freely
of
given.
me?
Do you remember what it was that drove you to me, Zale? Do you
I
remember
wanted
that
the
horror?
power to free them. I beseeched the moon. You branded me.
Freedom, was it, Zale? Or vengeance?
If I was to look inside myself, I would say it was more vengeance.
In an instant, the trees disapparate. The white wood vanishing into particles and smoke, rearranging themselves, and the night sky still hangs above you, but the trees vanish and turn to ash. And you close your eyes just to blink, just for an instant. And then your body changes. You are not the tall and powerful giant of a man with powerful muscles and strong musculature, dense bones. You are a 13-year-old boy standing in a dugout pit. To left and right behind you, boys of a similar age, Ulrich and Durin, boys from your childhood, who you watched die. Behind you, an elven girl, younger than you by 2 years or so, Faye with pale hair, downcast eyes, and you look up and above and you see the cruel, cold faces of your captors, the slavers who held you, several of them holding collars in their hands, attached to wolves, long leashes, and powerful creatures, sinewy and lithe, blackened fur, oily, eyes glowing red in the moonlight. As they loose their leashes and unsnap the collars, and the wolves leap down into the pit, surrounding you, padding around you. Zale, the voice says, rebounding in your ears, deafening. Do you remember this moment?
I do.
Do you remember the hatred that billowed up inside you? As one of the wolves darts forward, and Zale, you attempt to reach out your hand and try to stop it, but it darts past you and leaps onto the throat of Ulrich, a boy from your childhood, a friend who you went skipping in the pond with, throwing stones across the water, traipsing through the woods, through the muck and the dirt, getting filthy, returning home, grinning foolishly. And you remember all of this in an instant as the wolf latches its teeth into the throat of him and tears it out, and the blood sprays and he dies. What was
Why
it
do
that
you
stoked in your heart in this moment, Zale? What did you feel?
Anger,
Anger.
helplessness.
Helplessness. Remember that. Remember how weak you felt. And then remember how you found your strength. As Zale, you step forward, and your hands clench into fists, and before you know it, acting on instinct, in your child body, not yet fully grown, but with the will to kill, and the will to survive, as you reach out and lash your hands out, and strike one of these wolves, aiming for the throat, just as the wolf aimed for the throat of Ulrich. And you find it, and you hook your nails in, and you pull and wrench something, and the wolf dies at your feet, sputtering, gnashing, and growling. In this moment, Zale, you found the will to live. But more than that, you found the will to kill. What is left for you in this moment, as you stand and look and see your comrades, you see the wolves circle? What must you do? And you see another wolf padding toward Durin.
I'll go for the wolf that's going towards Durin.
As Durin, a boy a year older than you, stocky-shouldered, broad, always grinning, always smiling, always laughing, cheerful is Durin, and now, frozen in fear, paralyzed, you see almost distantly the wet patch formed at the groin of his trousers. But you, Zale, are not paralyzed as you move forward, lithe and powerful, quick. Before you became strong, you were fast, and you bound forward, snapping out your hands, and you leap onto the wolf's back, wrapping your elbows around its neck, pulling back, putting it in a chokehold as it howls and gnashes, lashing out its claws, its paws, and scratching a gore through your thigh as blood pulls out warm. But you maintain the chokehold and pull back until the thing struggles and struggles until it dies. And in the time it took you to do this, another wolf sneaks up behind Durin and launches onto his back. You have just enough time to look up over the corpse of this snap-necked wolf.
Why are you showing me this if I can't change it? It's already happened.
I show you this as a reminder, Zale. You could not change this. You could not change what would happen after. You could not change your death. But there is more in this world. Your work is not finished. Prove to me that you have the strength of will to see it through. As the wolf gores into Durin's back, claws digging into his skin, neck finding the back of his neck, biting once, wrenching and snapping the vertebrae.
While I'm in like this dreamscape, I know Zale's in his body, but can he use any of his abilities? Can he feel them?
Yes.
I'm
You
gonna
feel
misty.
it.
Oh, sorry. I'm
You
gonna
feel
misty
it.
step. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead. You're gonna misty
I'm
step
gonna.
behind the wolf.
I'm gonna misty step between Faye and the other wolf. I'm
Okay.
gonna. Faye, pick yourself up, or you're going to die again. And I'm gonna go for the wolf that's next to Faye.
You feel it, like a pulse within you, like a second heartbeat, as natural and intrinsic to you as your own breathing. As the magic wills itself to you and you appear in front of Faye, arms outstretched, and this young elven girl who you remember dying watched her die, watched her scream your name asking for your help, and you appear in front of her. And what is your reaction as the wolf stands before you within arm's reach?
I'm gonna go for it, but I'm gonna smite.
You strike your hand out, and a white blazing light appears around your fist, and the spectral form of a spear with a strangely shaped head, almost like a crescent, shoots out, and like a scythe, you sweep out with one strike and slice the wolf's head off of its shoulders, and the blood sprays. And it dies. And behind you, another wolf surges up,
Hold
sprinting.
person.
Alright, as you stretch out your left hand, and the wolf freezes in place, bound by your magic, these chains of moonlight shooting out from the sky, shooting down and striking and wrapping around the wolf, holding it in place.
And
And
I just push Faye out the way. Push Faye out the way, and I strike at the one that's moving.
Do you smite with this?
Yes.
You bring out your hand, and before you quite realize what you're doing, in both hands forms a blade, crescent-shaped, like the moon itself, as you strike out with both hands, and the blade takes shape mid-swing, and you slice out and scatter the wolf in two parts, the blood spraying, viscera tumbling in the air, catching the moonlight. Behind you, the last wolf sits, paralyzed.
And I'll just cleave that wolf in two.
Easily, effortlessly. When you live through this, you could only watch, Zale. Nearly helpless. It was all you could do just to fight and stay alive. You watched as your three companions served as little more than distractions, chewed and hounded and killed, giving you just enough time to fight for yourself until you emerged bloodied and dazed from this pit. This is not how the memory played. This is not how things went, and you know that, but you stand there with this blade of moonlight, pure moonlight, in your hands, and you look to Faye, a girl from your childhood, someone you knew somewhat well. She was a distant figure, elves being rare in your town. She was your friend. She looks and meets your eyes, and suddenly, the blue eyes that she normally had change, becoming all white, without sclera, without iris, glowing, radiant, and she lifts into the air and her form changes from an elven child to a figure of radiant beauty with long, flowing moonlight for hair, silver strands hanging in the air like a curtain, hovering over you, arms outstretched. I am your god, Zale. I am Elestrai, and I have guided you all these years. And your work is not done.
I live to
What
serve.
say you?
And I just take the knee.
And as you fall to your knee, your child's body changes. The ground around you changes. The bodies, the pit, everything disappearing in an instant. And then you are back to that white forest. Naked, standing alone amidst these white trees. The moonlight shining down on you. You kneel, eyes cast upon the ground. And you are in your adult body again, and you put your hand up, running it through your silver hair. The beard grown as if you had aged 5 years in a day. And then you look down again and you see, on the ground before you, that same crescent-shaped blade, with a long handle and a curving blade. It glimmers with radiance.
Not what I'm used to, but we could all do with a few changes. I pick it up.
You take the blade in your hands and it is cold and sharp and biting. You feel the vital essence from you begin to leach. You feel your hands begin to burn and freeze simultaneously. And then you tighten your grip, gritting your teeth through the pain. And then there is no pain. And then the blade feels as natural and steady in your hand as an extension of your limbs, a projection of your arm. 3 days and 3 nights from now, Zale, you will rise in the Savalier Wood, not far from where you fell. And you will find your purpose as the enemy bears down on the fortress of Kaisvakaram.
Oh,
And I will bid you to
fuck.
defend it. Do you understand your charge, Zale?
I understand, my lady.
And do you swear yourself to me, now and forever?
I swear myself to you.
And so it shall be. And your consciousness evaporates. And we return to the fortress.
We're fucking baby!
Morish, Tarn, and Katu, you may go ahead and take your long rest. Ish, obviously, you don't need to do that. You may if you wish. Usti, how's your backup coming along?
If we're not going to be doing any fighting, then I can probably bring him in.
Perfect.
If we start doing fighting, then it's going to be an issue.
Don't worry, we're not going to get that far. Alright. As you all awake, coming to in your beds, some of you slept more readily than others. I might as well get rid of Ish's corpse from this point forward. Katu, you feel a growing sense of unease, a sense of something pulling you in the direction of Kaisvakaram. That same dream that you had several nights before has come back to you. Your god calling you back to that fortress. Soon, he says. Soon. But you know you can't possibly walk there in 3 days, which is about as much time as you feel you have. What direction is there to go but forward? What can you do? But still, the unease is there. Nothing about this feels right. Morish, you feel good. You slept easily. You've slept a lot more easily ever since that whatever that hold on you, those voices in your head, was broken. And you were given protection, but you don't know by what. You don't know from whom. Simply that something you has granted you their aid. And you know your powers have changed. You can heal now, and none of your powers ever allowed you to do that before. And you feel oddly at peace, despite the tension of this place you're in and the near death you found yourselves. Tarn, you are well as can be. Sleeping out of the suit of your armor, which almost feels vulnerable to you, almost like you're naked without the massive shell of steel. Strange how quickly people become accustomed to these things. And Ish, obviously, as the others come to, you are already well awake in the process of powdering your wig, doing up your dwindling hair in an elegant, gentlemanly fashion, waxing your mustache. And you know, Ish, that there is one more soul left to introduce to this fledgling party of yours. Another such servant charged by Ericus to accompany you in your quest and venture. And you know just where to find him.
Am I still with Lamora, or did I go back to the party?
At this point you would have returned to the chamber.
Okay. Gentlemen, I must step out for a brief adjournment. I have another very important person that I need to. Words. Get.
Fetch.
Fetch.
All right. Very well. So you step out of the chamber and make your way to the same blacksmith shop where Morris found his hammer, but not to the main entrance, around the back, to where not MC Hammer does his work, but others. Several others blacksmiths, actually. Many working in concert, each with their own place, their own room, their own space with which to fabricate and work. And you find the gentleman you are looking for. Boosty, if you would describe your character for us.
Okay, 1 second. Alright, so it's just Ish there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what Ish currently sees is a mountain dwarf, currently unarmored, working in a bit of a like a greasy shirt, 5 feet tall, long, light brown hair, and like a bit of a ponytail type thing, with a long brown beard, currently like braided in three separate ways. He's currently working on a piece of armor that has been commissioned by a prominent customer of his father's. Lying next to him is his splint mail. Next to the splint mail as well is a massive maul that he uses to defeat his enemies. Next to that maul is a book devoted to Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon, as well as a horn there he uses to sound off a rallying call to his allies. Seeing Ish, Amron the Fifth looks up and says, "Oi, oi, Ish! Captain, how's it going?"
Imran, our Lord Arrakis requires that you hurry up with this task you are currently doing and join me presently to escort his new employees to the next destination. Please make yourself presentable before attending.
Oh, I don't have much in the way of clothing. I'm quite a humble gentleman myself. Don't mean to brag. Who are these people that I'm supposed to, say good day to?
One, shall we say, is a cunt.
Oh, yeah, you're speaking my language there, mate.
You'll know him when you see him.
Oh, yeah. Is he a big one?
Yes, he's quite large.
Is he bigger
Very
than me?
oafish. Yes.
Yeah, he tenses his massive arms. Veins pop.
He hides himself underneath some ugly armor.
Oh,
So it's hard to see. Possibly quite fragile. Definitely an ego.
All right. And the rest?
There's one woman.
Oh.
She seems upright, a bit uncivilized, but I wouldn't hold that against her kind.
Oh, let's be honest to you, anything that's not you is uncivilized, but that's alright. Should be right.
And then there is another small, shifty individual. I would definitely keep my eyes on your items when he's around.
You're right. I'll keep a lookout. Nah, it should be right. Okay, you know what? I'll dedicate this to one of the unpaid interns and back. Should be right though. I'll meet you there. I'll look somewhat presentable.
Okay,
Alright.
as quick as you can.
Oh, sorry. Where am I, menu? Obviously, I should ask that. That's important.
Oh, well, I've kept them in the servants' quarters. I felt it was fitting for them.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, all right, all right, all right. I will be on my way. Amron looks in the back and goes, "Oi, oi, you! You need to finish this. I've got work to do." All right, Ish, I'll see you there.
Right away, right away. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will see you there, Ish. Don't
I
fret,
tip.
I will look my utmost. I'll braid a fourth beard.
Yes, quite. I tip my wig, and I bid you adieu, good sir.
Yeah, yeah, ta-ta.
All right.
And I make my way back to the rest of the party in the servants' quarters.
Amron's going to put on his splint. He's going to get his maul ready. He's going to attach his book to his person and his horn. And he's also going to get his battle helm ready.
Sounds
To look
great.
presentable, you know?
Yes. Quite an imposing figure, wreathed in muscle as you are, with your heavy armor and heavy weapon. Still,
Oh, I
quite
forgot
an
to, sorry, I
erudite
forgot to
look
say,
in your eyes.
the splint, the sleeves are kind of torn off to get the biceps showing.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, got the you get the sleeveless look going, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The gauntlets are still there. It's just the biceps are sleeveless.
What's his name again? Sorry.
Amron the Fifth. I will type it in.
Thank you.
Eventually, Ish obviously makes his way back to the servants' quarters. Amron will be following some distance behind, I assume.
Well, he needs to put on his armor. So how long would that take? 10 minutes?
Heavy armor takes 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's say half an hour behind.
Half an hour behind. Okay, fair enough. In that half an hour intervening time, I assume you all have your breakfast, prepare, and perhaps discuss. Katu, you feel a sense of urgency driving you to finish this quest, and to somehow return to Kais Fakaram, but you can't think of a way to get to the circle within 3 days. That's untenable.
We're not within 3 days of that teleporter area, were we?
Let me bring you to the map.
It's like 5 or 6, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Because we stopped at a shitty treasure spot. That guy fucking lied. The treasure was the friendships you lost along the way.
6 days.
6 days. Is there any way that... What's his name? Ackerman?
Aricus.
Ericus could assist. It's in his interest, right, to...
Yes, that's as far as you know, yes. He's after the artifacts that, well, not to put too fine a point on it, that Adrian and his party now have in their ploy. It is what he seeks.
Would Ish know of any shortcuts?
Shortcuts, no, but you could think that entreating the aid of your master is not such a bad idea. As one of his closer attendants-ish, you actually have a bit of an in with Ericus. You imagine it wouldn't be too hard to at least ask.
Okay, yeah, I would like to ask Arcus then if he would be so gracious as to lend us some assistance.
Okay. You know that when he is not employed in business, Ericus tends to return to his own personal chambers. There's a certain circuitous way that leads to them, and they overlook his mountain of gold down below in the main hall. An illusory wall, almost like a one-way mirror that allows him to view the gold, and possibly to even step through it without having to be viewed in turn. And you find him there, lounging in his great gold and crimson throne, looking at his gold with a look of avarice and contentment, swirling a goblet of wine in his left hand. And you enter slowly, eyes downcast, hands held before you in the customary way of servants. And without looking back to address you, Ericus says, his voice booming and thundering, filling this small chamber. Ish, you come to me, unprompted. I expect you have something you wish to ask of your master.
Yes, my great and benevolent Lord Arrakis. It's about these gentlemen you've asked to acquire a treasure. I fear they might be so inept that they might require some of your assistance to get the job done. Would it be possible, if it's not an inconvenience at all, to do something to speed up their travels?
All things are possible, Ish. You know this. Are they truly so inept?
Oh my lord, you have no idea. The offense they've caused to Mr. MC Hammer and Ms. Lamora has been indescribable. I shudder even just to think about the things they said.
Impropriety is one of the greatest sins of this world. Very well. If I must see to this task myself, I will. He leans forward in his golden throne and stretches out his left hand, and a faint quiver in the air is visible as he stretches his hand out, and an object from the pile of gold shoots out of the gold and reaches his hand and extends into his hand, and he clasps around it. And there is a horn of silver and gold with red engraving. This is a horn of steed calling. Blow into it just once, and a fleet of horses will emerge, swift and unstoppable. Usable but once, however. I take it this will aid in your quest?
My lord, this will let us get the job done in half the time. We shall be back quicker than you could shake a goblin's head off.
How filthy. With disdain, he tosses the horn behind him, and it suspends in the air at the apex of the arc, and then hovers down into your gnomish hands, Ish, and you hold it.
I give a very, very, very deep bow and do the Wayne's World We're Not Worthy, walking backwards out the door.
Of course. Supplication. The very picture of humility. You leave your master's side and return to the party. And by this point, Amron, you will have made your way to the servants' quarters that Ish spoke of. You stand before the door.
He's be right backing at the moment.
Ah, gotcha. In that case, I will also be right back.
Okay, I'm back. Where's Rube?
He just left.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll be a B.
Tarn's made quite the impression with Ish then. He is a cunt.
You all have...
Why do you think Moorish is a thief? Genuinely. Like, he's not, I mean, other than the Mardoons, he's not stolen a fucking thing.
I've only just met you.
This isn't the first time you've called Moorish a thief. You did it in chat before as well. I remember.
All of Kutch's characters are predisposed to think that Moorish is a
thief. Yeah.
Is he an elf? Well, he's a thief.
He's clearly a thief.
He stole things. I saw it.
He heated up his tea. He works in a tea shop.
I saw him do it. He works in a tea shop.
I saw him take items from his own backpack.
Yeah.
The absolute audacity!
The gall of the man.
But it's his backpack. I saw it. Okay, so D, what's the deal? Why did you stab my key PC?
You tried to kill Tarn, so Tarn tried to kill you.
Not directly.
But that's You tried to kill him. He tried to kill you.
Okay, so my thinking with when I did the levitate was I knew you would succeed because you've got high con, and even if you failed, I didn't think he was gonna just outright kill you. So that was why I did it. I was not expecting a quick neck stab. That was that was not what I was expecting.
Right, honestly, the first thing when Verb said you may raise him, and I was in head, I was like, I will raise him as he tried to raise me, and then just bang.
Okay.
Because I know you SpongeBob text that it's in character, but I'm trying to play more in character just because I want to do D&D like that. And
Okay.
when you met Tarn, you did the first thing, he fought the thing, and then we came out, and then you had the conflict with Moorish, and you were a bit unhinged then, and then gradually with the orb, that's all he's seen is like slightly more and more agitated and unhinged behavior. He tried to get the orb away from you, and then that's when we had the standoff in the ravine. And then when he was running from the red dragon, you tried to levitate him. So in his eyes, that's you trying to kill him because you're basically trying to throw him in the air as a dragon's coming at him.
Okay. Well, I remember when we first met, Tan was immediately insulted Kieran, and then from there it just kind of went into, oh, he's using the orb. I for one thought it was kind of like metagaming type stuff, where you were coming from Zale to Tarn to.
He does it. The way Tarn interacts with everyone, he does it like halfling.
We
elf.
also
He doesn't address people directly. He's like when he meets like shopkeepers, he's like
I will
woman.
also say, Usty, when Tarn first met you, you did shift off with the orb and then come back with a mad gleam in your eye, and we all noticed you do it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair enough.
Like,
I'm genuinely sorry if I've upset you. But
No, look, I was a little bit annoyed, but I've downed like 3 beers and now I'm okay. So
cool.
so we're all good. We're good. We're Gucci.
Oh, cool.
I didn't mean to upset you.
No,
I
I just thought it was I just no, like I get it now. Just at the time I was just so taken aback. I was just so
dude,
unexpected. I
Don't
was
get
like,
me
what
wrong.
the fuck?
Don't get me wrong. I'd be that way as well. Like if that happened to me, I'd also
Tarn's
be
whole
like,
thing.
shit.
Tarn's whole thing is he's literally looking for like reliable people, and throughout the whole group, like you've roleplayed Kieran getting more and more unhinged.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's why he tried to get the orb away from you because he's identified the orb as.
Oh yeah, no, but then
Yeah.
like obviously you getting the orb away from him sees or makes it seem like you're trying to take his god, let's call it that. I can't think of a better word right now, away from him. Which then turned it in just like slowly escalated it to where I tried to do that thing, but I tried to do it in a way that wouldn't guarantee you dying.
Hence the
If
command
that makes
spell.
sense. Yeah, and then like obviously more the command thing. I'm like, okay, well I can win that. I just the whole like next step. I was like, what the fuck? I was so not expecting it, but it's okay. I'm bringing in a character you might like now, so it's okay.
He's incredibly racist against
Also-
half orcs.
Also, I'm very
And I've
excited to see
Oh yeah,
Kieran's
no,
villain
100%,
arc.
100%. So say again.
I'm
Yeah?
very excited to see Kieran's villain arc. Now.
Oh yeah, no, that was gonna happen no matter what. Like,
Yeah,
even
of
if it was still in the party,
course.
that was gonna happen.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
it's 100% going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'll be quite honest. So last session, Verb gave me an offer. He's like, every night you can use the orb to continue to corrupt the party. And I messaged him today, and I was like, yeah, no, we're doing it. And then he took the orb away, and I was super upset. And then he killed Kieran, and I was even more upset. Now I'm a little less upset because I'm 3 beers in.
I did not know the Zale thing was happening, by the way.
Oh no, neither
Oh
did I.
no, yeah. I drop shit on your asses all the damn time.
You were like, Zale. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like we talked about it like fucking 5 weeks ago, like, and basically all it came to is I said, yeah, I'll make it a possibility, but I'm not gonna
Like,
tell you.
It was like, do
Shit.
you want Zale to come back sometime? I was like, I mean, yeah. I'm like, maybe, like, if you can work it in. And you're just like, Zale. I'm like, okay, all right.
I immediately
This is
jumped
happening.
back to a conversation you and I had, Verb, where we were talking about Zale a few days back, maybe a week ago, and how I said that like I was really disappointed that he died so soon, and you agreed. You were like, yeah, it feels like he had so much more story to tell, and I was like, yeah, definitely. As soon as you said Zale, I was like, you
Yeah.
fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Also, young Zale, Verb, is
I don't know
Myrna's-
that.
Myrna's
I
son.
genuinely just pulled a picture.
yeah, it's Myrna's son that you rescued from the slave pen in the Red Brand hideout.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's the token
Huh.
I used for that character. It's just,
Oh,
I was like,
huh.
I know that token.
Oh, I had complete coincidence. I didn't even know. Huh. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a
Full
throwaway.
liberties then. I was like,
It was just such a
do I
throwaway
have my
character.
paladin? Do I have my paladin powers? You're like,
Yeah,
yes, and I- okay,
man.
cool. Right, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this.
Oh,
In my
God,
head, I'm
yeah.
like, what the fuck's on that spell list?
How do I play
Oh,
this character again? Let me remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that was
been like 2
badass
months.
though. All right. So we've got 15 minutes left of session. Let's wrap this up real quick. So, Amron,
Mm.
you stand outside the door of the servants' quarters here that you know the rest of these guys, these strangers that you've been charged to aid in their quest, whatever that form that ends up taking. At this time, Ish, obviously, returns from his own quest, now bearing a silver horn in his hands that you recognize, having done some work yourself, having handled a few of the ancient artifacts, a horn of steed calling. And you imagine that whatever this task may end up being, the fact that you need such an artifact is probably indicative of its magnitude.
Captain, are you gonna tell me exactly what this quest is, or am I gonna be stumbling in the dark here?
Is he with the party? Sorry.
They're just outside the servants' door.
Okay.
In fact, I'd say some of you can hear the conversation.
I can actually remember.
You can't remember. You can't remember
don't
your own
think-
quest.
I don't think we've told them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All you really know so far is that you have to help these guys.
Okay.
I am unsure. I've just been told by our Lord Arrakis that we must give our utmost assistance to these ne'er-do-wells.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it must be important then. Odd that he wouldn't give any details whatsoever. Though, you sure you just didn't listen properly?
My dear man. Who are you talking to?
You.
You know me. Ears like a cat.
You're right. Well, you wanna? Okay, let's go in. Say good day, I guess.
I open the door first and come in and wave my arm in a greeting fashion or introductory fashion and say, this is my good colleague, Amron the Fifth.
Yeah, it's right. Great Maul over shoulder, under his arm, helmet, Viking style with the horns. Yep, how's it going?
Greetings.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
met.
It's been a weird day.
Yeah, I can see. What happened? How'd you get here?
We were
Oh, it's
led here in promise of treasure, and they forgot to mention the dragon.
ooh, yeah, nah, ish, what's his name? I forgot. Oh, not gonna lie,
Arrakis.
bit pissed. Oh, thanks. Yeah, nah, I forgot his name again. Yeah, he's a bit of a tricksy, that one, but he means well, I guess.
I suppose so. He didn't. He spared most of us.
Most.
Yeah, we lost one.
Oh, at least it's not two, I guess.
Hmm. Oh, I suppose
Right.
two as well. Someone left.
Wait, so someone died and someone left.
Yeah.
Was he important?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I mean,
No.
Cat is just there, like shrugging as I was like,
despite my misgivings, he was a valuable asset.
So, why'd he leave then?
oh, I was talking
well,
about
he was a little bit corrupted by a evil relic, and I may have stabbed him in the throat.
Oh, you're the cunt-ish Tommy about. Yeah, nice to meet you, mate.
Takes one to know one, bicep boy.
Oh, no, clearly he called you a cunt. I asked who am I dealing with, and he said some cunt and some armor, so
Fine.
not my words. It's some nice armor with it. You gotta let me take a look at that sometime. I'm a smith myself. Very, very, very competent. I come from a long lines. I'm the fifth Amron in a long line of smith caste.
named Amron?
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm the 5th.
Oh, okay. I
Ish, where'd you find these guys?
They're just low-level help.
Uh-huh.
Low level, alright. Okay, so apparently we're supposed to help you with something. What is that exactly? It's of utmost importance, says Mr. fucking Dragonface.
We need to get to a teleportation circle outside of Molismere to
Alright.
intercept a wizard and his party.
Why?
He plans on bringing an army through from the Dwendalian Empire to siege the city of Molismere.
So? I don't understand why it's such a big deal. The Dwendalian people come over here all the time and they just die in the forest, like.
Imagine a force with a couple of thousand magical artifacts steamrolling through the place.
And then once they're done there, they would turn their attention outwards.
Alright. Again, so?
Think of it as
Look, mate,
fixing the small hole in the roof before it collapses.
Look, mate, I don't know if you noticed, but we got a fucking dragon that's an elf. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so, okay. Sorry, Verb, can I do an insight check to see if there's, like, an ulterior motive with them to, like, why they actually want to go after this guy?
Sure.
I mean, I'd allow it.
Yeah. 11. I mean, especially for Moorish. Katu's a little harder to read, but Moorish, you can tell there's a personal element to this. You're not quite sure
mean-
what, though.
Kato isn't going to try and hide anything. She's going to be pretty straightforward about why we're going where we're going, and it's not as if look, we've nothing to hide in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say even with an 11, it's clear to tell that there's a personal element to these two at least. Tarn doesn't seem as involved. Tarn probably has his own reasons, but these two, there's a flash of something on their faces as they speak of this.
Okay. Alright, so you want to go after Tim where to into Molismere, right?
Outside of it first. He's going to reactivate a teleportation circle.
Alright.
And I mean, I'm sure I can have access to the map, and I'll show him on the map where it is.
Yeah. And you would know of this place, Amron, as would most decently high-ranking people within the fortress here, as a location of some interest that Ericus has never been able to reinstate.
Alright, so are you going on? You're not going after him in the goodness of your heart, I guess. This is like vengeance or something. It's got to be vengeance. It's always vengeance, right?
It's always.
I mean, who would go into Molismere voluntarily? Not me.
I mean, I didn't say we were going into Molismere.
Well, you go into the teleportation circle that goes into Molismere, right?
I mean, it can go elsewhere. We had planned on maybe using it to head back to a previous location we had visited.
Verb, I know that would work that way.
You don't have any reason to think it wouldn't. You don't know where they're alluding to, but what you know of the teleportation circle is that you can think of it like a relay point. All the circles in pretty much on the planet are connected, so if you can teleport from one circle, you can teleport to another. So once this circle is reestablished and reconnected, it would essentially link up to the network, and you could use it to teleport to any other circle that's established. Probably not into the city itself until the barrier falls, but other places, sure.
And do I know of any other circles?
Make a history check.
That one.
18. That's pretty good. Yeah, I would say you know that there is indeed one under the ruin of Kais Vakarum. Perhaps the place they are alluding to, a mountain fortress built by the now Trebayne family. Once they went by a different name when they first fled from Malaismere. Um,
Do I know this name?
no, you'd have
Okay.
had to roll much higher.
Okay, okay. Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I know there is another teleportation circle at Case Vicarium, Case Vicarium, whatever you how you pronounce it. All right. So you want to track down this mage, you want to kill this mage, and then what?
Head back to Chaos Vicarum.
Have you like set up a bit of a base there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Interesting, interesting. It's been long dormant. All right, yep, sure,
Sure.
fuck it. I mean, I got nothing else going on. I got the unpaid interns working on my armor for me, so I can come help. No worries.
Sure. And what is it exactly that you can do?
Oh well, you see, I'm gonna pull out my holy symbol. See, I'm a cleric devoted to Bahamut, the Paladin Dragon. You see, I'm quite proficient at carrying out his justice. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I also have this big fuck off maul. It's not for walking; it's for hitting things. Okay.
Sure.
Right. Cool. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go get myself a fucking pint. I am thirsty.
When are we heading out?
Oh, whenever, mate. I'm just gonna go to the tavern, but you know, whenever you want, I'm around.
It is
Uh,
not
Kaido's
even
gonna
8 in the
press
morning yet.
to, yeah, go as soon as possible.
What was that verb? Sorry.
It is not even 8 in the morning yet. I
Ah,
mean, if
perfect
Everett
time.
does seem like the kind of person who would drink in the morning, but
Mountain dwarf.
just letting you
Perfect
know.
time.
Yeah, of course. But yes, Katsu perhaps looking a little restlessly. There's no reason to wait, Katsu, as far as you know. Might as well head out now.
Oh, not even for a quick drink, Katu. Nothing at all.
I'll give. Morris will reach into his backpack and pull out the bottle of Rotgut that he bought in Shady Creek Run those many weeks ago. I've kept it in my inventory for ages, and I'll hand it over to
I've seen
Amron.
that.
Actually, sorry, I don't know all your names, right? Like, I've been speaking to you. I don't even know of your name. What is your name?
Moorish.
All right, and the rest of you? I'm
Tarn.
Amron, if you didn't know. Ton,
Kaido.
Katu. All right. Well, nice to meet you all. All right, I guess we're gonna be traveling. So I'm gonna lay it out. I can patch up armor. I'm a really good smith. If I didn't mention that, I'm sure I did. And if you're a bit thirsty, I am more than happy to brew some of my homemade mead. You know,
Sure.
I can do that.
Okay. You all make your way up to the surface, using the chambers that Ish obviously leads you through. The path is obvious, of course. And eventually you make your way to the surface. Along the way, actually I would say this happened the night before, Talir and Zamara would have found their way to the servants' quarters, same as you all, and head out, up with you two. Reaching the surface, you have your animals, your one giraffe horse and Julian, woefully slow. They'd never make it in time. But Ish holds the silver horn. Ish, you know the capabilities of these steeds. They are blindingly fast. This travel, these 6 odd days and nights of walking through these woods, you could get it done in perhaps 16 hours of pure galloping. Put your fingers. Do you blow the horn?
Yes, I reverently take it out of my bag and touch it to my lips, and I will play a jaunty little ditty.
All right. Not quite the foghorn blast that you might expect out of such a formidable horn. It's more like a flute soliloquy of cheerful notes ringing out into the open air. It is a beautiful day today. Not a cloud in the sky, the sun bright and clear on the horizon. And you bring out these notes, and then forming as if from the morning mist, coalescing into the shape of steeds. 5 powerful horses, lithe and beautiful, composed of pure flowing mist, appear before you. Julian looks at one of them with eminent suspicion and jealousy. You'll have to leave your horses behind if you wish to make this journey. They'll not be fast enough.
Can we pack rations?
Into your backpacks, but there are no saddlebags to speak of on these spectral horses.
Okay. I have.
Rations? Rations? We'll be home before tea.
I'm still gonna load up like a few into my inventory.
I'll take 10 if that's all right.
Yeah.
I already have some.
Okay. Sure.
All
I'll
right.
take 5 for myself, and then drop the horse.
And that is where we will end our session. Here, amidst these horses, ready for the final showdown.
Sick.
Not quite what you motherfuckers expected, was it?
No. I wasn't expecting to have proper off the cuff a Zale thing.
I had that possibly planned to go as like last session if there was a proper lull, but there was not. Things got hectic, but we had it. We had time.
Again, Ushti, I'm sorry if I upset you. I hope my explanation was enough.
Yeah, it was, dude. I was annoyed, but now I'm not. It's fine. Okay. It's okay. I get it. It's cool. Don't worry about it, dude. It's all good in the hood.
Until Amron fists Tarn.
Oh yeah, no, that's probably
Oh, that's part of the
probably-
romance.
Oh, that's a paddling.
I mean, he is a pretty attractive mountain dwarf with big fucking arms, so you know that could happen. And you've
For
got a
such
really
small
sick,
man.
you've
you
got a
have
really
such large
sexy,
biceps.
you've got a really sexy suit of armor he likes. So
Tarn winks.
Amron blushes.
All right, thank you
He
very much.
fucking
I'll catch you on
leaps.
the next
No.
one.